I just tap to pay,
Right.
You're at the grocery store. You've done that while they're still ringing. They just hit a button and move you down the line. Coming in, listening to the Sports Center in the morning, and they're interviewing the Oklahoma coach and one of the Oklahoma players, and Holly Rowe. And I think Holly Rowe's great. I really do. But all the ups and downs this season, all the ups and downs? You've won 56 effing games in a row.
That's 61-1.
All the ups. Hey, if you want to say, what was the pressure like this year, winning all this? How was the pressure? How did you handle the pressure of the success? But don't give me ups and downs, because there were no downs.
I was going to say
the 4-3 game against Baylor in April, for Christ's sake.
I think it was it April? I thought it was February.
I'm sorry, you're right. It was February. February. Don't. You want to talk about the pressure of doing that? I get all that. That's a legit question. But the ups and downs, shut up.
She's a workaholic too, because she'll go straight now into WNBA, and she has hardly any time off. Who then will go straight into college football.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah, they're getting rid of a lot of people. They ain't going to get rid of Holly Rowe.
Neil
Everett.
Yeah.
He made it sound as if it was his decision. That he's like, listen, 23 years, I'm 61 or whatever. I just, I had a good run. I got to do something else.
I really liked him.
Yes.
We'll find out and probably not, Jim, unless it's for the horses, since they played in New York yesterday. But
apparently 200's the magic number, Jim. If the air quality is below 200, they'll race the Belmont. But the governor of New York came out yesterday and said, if it's 200 or above, they ain't running. That's okay. How many people know the race is on Fox? Fox purchased the Belmont. Yes, they did. Why, Behind? Oklahoma City embraces it. They, just because Oklahoma's become, a national power, I don't hold it against them. Omaha does the college baseball. Oklahoma City does the softball. Listen, we think they should make hockey full-time in Tampa. I mean, it's literally the only Frozen Four location where if your team loses in the semis, you're bummed for about an hour. And you're like, what do you say we go to the beach tomorrow? I'm curious, by the way, who's broadcasting the race on Fox? When they purchased the Belmont, Joe was still with them. Well, yeah. Joe was still with them, and I texted him, and I said, I got your spotter.
Yeah,
I was going to
told me.
And he's like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? I'm like, Fox just purchased the Belmont, and they put you on everything they purchase. He goes, I got to do horse racing? Yeah, but that'll be the analyst, right, Jim? I mean,
yeah, Behind, how many Nebraska schools play in the College World Series? It's a destination.
I actually think Behind it's smart, then it's like in the SEC. We got to get to Atlanta. The whole conference is like, can I get to Atlanta? The same thing in these sports. Can I get to Oklahoma City? Can I get to Omaha? By the way, the softball season is over. And there's still 2 more rounds to go in college baseball. They will play for nearly 3 more weeks. The last college baseball game could be had on June 26th.
My God, the finals will be over by then.
Long over.
Yeah, over for a week.
Like
Easy.
we're talking NBA draft, getting ready for the NBA.
Yeah. No. I think the last college baseball game is like a day or two before the NBA draft.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Happy Friday. Hope you had a good week, and thanks for ending it with us. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing great, David. Good morning. Terrific win last night for the Florida Panthers. They made it a series. Whew.
Woo. Got close.
Woo-wee.
Come on, boys. little sooner next time. But okay.
I mean, once it got to overtime, I felt pretty good, but it didn't look like it was going to get to overtime for quite a while.
No. And I got to admit, I mean, if you're going to have overtime, let's, do it in the first 5 minutes. I mean, let's go home. Let's get this sucker done. People still have, to work, get up, the whole thing. So, yep. I mean, we still got series. The Florida teams are down 2-1, but they're home for game 4. We still got series. We'll see. We'll see. The Mountain Time Zone, franchises there are favored, but that's okay. We'll see how we do. I'll tell you what, first nominee for a poll question. I know we won't use it, but I'm fired up. If only one of the two teams is going to head back on the road 2-2, which one will it be, Heat or Panthers? Think about it. Which one are you going to put your shekels on?
That's tough because I'm guessing, and I've not looked at the lines yet, but the Heat have been underdogs in every game they've played.
3.5-point dog tonight.
Okay. And I would guess that the Panthers are going to be slight favorites in game 4.
Well, they were in game 3.
Right.
But it'd be interesting if that line was, hey, they'll get one, So not sure the early line on Golden Knights and Panthers.
And indeed, the Panthers are a slight favorite in that one.
So that's all. Early nominee for a poll question. If only one of the two Florida teams is going to go back on the road 2-2, which one do you think it'll be? Heat, game 4 tonight against Denver. Panthers, game 4 tomorrow night against Las Vegas. By the way, speaking of Vegas quickly, they still haven't voted out. They called the special session, and they've been yelling at each other all week. They still haven't voted on that A's Stadium financing. Ooh. And now they took a break for the weekend. They ain't going to start yelling at each other again on Monday.
And it's more than one vote, right?
Oh, yeah. They think this is the toughest vote, but, the governor has said he's passing it. So if they can get it to the governor, he's for it. But yeah. Mm-hmm. And really, in the grand scheme of things, it's $380 million, which is, I don't want to say a drop in the bucket, but that's not a lot of money compared to what most major pro sports teams ask a community for. I mean, think about it. I mean, the Bills just got over $1 billion from the state of New York. Jacksonville Jaguars are asking for $1 billion from the city of Jacksonville and Duval County.
For a revamp.
Right. A new one would cost $1 billion more, is what they say. I have to admit, you mean to tell me? Because the Jags want to split the cost, Mark. So that means the revamp's going to cost. And remember, they're the area around the stadium. So
which is the most important part for Jacksonville, for the Jags.
Well, it is for the Jags. believe it or not.
No, I'm not being facetious. It's the most important part. It's the same thing at St. Pete.
Right.
The stadium's, part of it, but the whole building, the whole build out is what is most attractive to ownership.
Right. Area development and all that. Yeah. That's where they'll own all that, and that's where they'll make money hand over fist. But I mean, $2 billion. I mean, you mean to tell me you can't build a new stadium for $2 billion? I mean, that's what I would say if I'm Jacksonville, Duval County. I'm like, wait a minute. How much more would it cost to build a new one? But anyway, we got a lot going on, though. I mean, we got everything in the news today. There's name a sport. It's in the news or on the show today.
Well, obviously, there's the NHL and the NBA, but the NFL, we'll get into talk there because Dalvin Cook's released or going to be released.
What the hell are the Vikings doing? I can't even be polite about this one. If we were in that front office, I would probably be fired. I'm not kidding. I certainly would have been asked to leave the room. We got it. We know where you stand. Go home. They won 13 games last year, correct? Now, we all thought they overachieved, that they were probably a 10-win team, but they won all the close games. All of them. Crazy ones. Remember, they had the huge comeback against the Colts, 30-something points. I mean, it was one of those years. But they kind of crashed back down to earth in the playoffs against a mediocre Giants team, and, they got beat because their defense is lousy. But this is the NFC, right? They're in the NFC, not the AFC.
No, they didn't switch. They were not the Milwaukee Brewers. No, David.
Right. So they're in the far inferior conference, correct?
It's not close.
Much easier to get deeper in the playoffs in the NFC than the AFC. Wouldn't you agree?
We certainly believe that to be the case.
Okay. Listen, everybody's got cap issues. Everybody can manage the cap differently or better. With that said, Mark, I was thinking about this yesterday when the Dalvin Cook news broke. And of course, he immediately sends out a tweet with him next to Dolphin Stadium there. I mean, he's a South Florida guy. He's working out in South Florida. He wants to play for the Dolphins. Dolphins got 4 running backs. And yet, if Dalvin Cook wants to play for you, how do you not sign him? We'll get to that in a moment. Mark, when's the last time the Packers and the Bears at the same time were this below average? I think I have the answer. But
I mean, the Packers have had damn near 30 years of pretty good football.
Right. And then
before that, the Bears. So
thank you.
Are we going back?
Yes.
To the 70s?
Well, damn near.
The early 80s?
But then again, the funny thing is the Packers had a playoff team in 82 with Lynn Dickey, James Lofton, and John Jefferson. I mean, I think you got to go back to like 80, 81. The last time you had the Bears and the Packers at the same time that were both below 500 teams. And I'm not talking about years, like Rodgers got hurt 5 years ago, broke his collarbone. The Packers went 6-10. Yeah, but the Packers were a very good team that year. Rodgers got hurt. The season went to, things like that happen. Like the Rams last year blew up. But a year ago at this time, didn't we think the Rams were a good team? Yes. 2 months before a season started, when's the last time we said both the Packers and Bears, they're below 500 teams?
Well, they'll be the consensus picks to finish 3rd and 4th in the division.
Yeah, neither one's going to the playoffs. Right. Mark, you got to go back to Reagan's inaugural. Because like you said, well, if you start when Favre took over as quarterback early in 92, so for 30 plus years here, we thought, Packers, they're a good team. Even the year they transitioned from Favre to Rodgers, Green Bay was a play away from the Super Bowl. Okay, yeah, we knew there'd be a transition, but it's not like they were a bad team. They just had an inexperienced quarterback. Now, they went 6-10, but they were not a bad team because the next year they made the playoffs, and the year after that, they won the Super Bowl. And then, obviously, pre-92, what'd you have? You had Ditka. Ditka goes to the NFC Championship game in 84, and the Bears for the next 8 years, I mean, they made the playoffs in 91. I mean, so you got to go pre-84. You got to go 40 years. The last time your two biggest division rivals were this bad. And you're dismantling your team? I'd be going all in. Like, maybe this is my last great shot to do something with this group. Then I'll blow it up. I don't get this at all. We'll have one of our favorites, Pat Reusse, to talk about it and anything else he wants to be sarcastic and wise-ass about.
Right. Well, this is like the latest in, I forgot how many years that we've had a team under 500 winning the division.
And it's his Twins.
Yeah, I think it's been since 2008 that we've not had, the last time we had a division leader that was under 500. That's where the Twins are right now. So that should get Reusse going as well. He should have a lot to be grumpy about this morning, which is always a good thing when you have Patrick Reusse on the show.
So, I don't know. Just a little tangent there. I as fired up as I am today, I had to get that off my chest. I literally think there's an organization out there committing malpractice.
We'll also talk with Glenn Davis, hosts Soccer Matters podcast, about Messi coming to the MLS. What does it mean?
Apparently, it's a big deal. Like, really big deal. And this isn't just from Felipe. I don't know about you, Mark. I've actually had a lot of people in my life tell me they're all in on this. I'm like, wow, like, purchase Apple? And they're like, yes. I'll be damned.
Yeah, I've not had one, but I hang around with old people. Yeah, I'm hanging around a lot of guys at golf that are a lot older than me, and they're not into the MLS. So I've not had one person say that to me, that they were all in on that. Kurt Becker will let us know whether or not the Belmont's going to be run.
Never mind who's going to win it. And in fact, our poll question today could be, what network is televising the Belmont?
Oh, we bring back Guess the Network. It was always a fun game in our past lives. And Tony Fiorentino, former Heat broadcaster and assistant coach, will join us to talk about Game 4 tonight, the Heat and the Nuggets, as the Heat try to even the series at 2. Starting 5 coming up in 25 or so minutes. We've got a packed show for a Friday. What the heck?
Rays and Marlins haven't lost this week?
Horizon's batting 500 now?
So we got a below 500 team winning a division, and we got a guy hitting over 400 in the second week of June. Crazy.
And neither Florida baseball team can lose right now. Yeah, they're playing inferior opponents, but they're kicking the crap out of them. What do you want me to say? Miller and Moulton. Starting 5, like I said, 25 minutes away. Thanks so much for listening on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Shimko, I did not. I was all in on the hockey last night. But I knew, even though the Mets were up, when Verlander could only go 3 innings, I thought, oh, that bullpen's not good. They're going to get to that bullpen. That's one of those crushing losses. You bring your closer in to try to get 5 outs because you desperately need a win.
So my neighbor, she's beside herself.
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
She wants Showalter fired.
Oh, come on.
Oh, yeah. She wants him
Tell her to
fired.
grow up. It's Showalter's fault that they can't hit. It's Showalter's fault that they can't pitch. Come on. Now, did he screw up the Blue Jays game over the weekend? Yes, he did.
Well, I don't watch him every night. She watches every game. She thinks he leaves pitchers in too long. It bothers her to know it. And hey, David, what are they going to do at this point? They're grossly underachieving.
Right. And they've called up 3 of their top 4 prospects, and the only reason they didn't call up the 4th, he hurt his ankle a week ago. I mean, there's nowhere to go to get reinforcements. I mean, they're going to trade what? Their bad, underachieving parts for what? What are you going to get on the market?
Well, that's why I'm saying I don't think she's that bad blank crazy that it could happen.
That would disappoint me. That would literally be Steve Cohen turning into George Steinbrenner from back in the day.
If you spent all that money,
I understand,
and your team was performing the way that it did, you wouldn't at least consider it.
Well, you'd want to make some changes, but they're in a bind. Okay, they are.
I mean, you were firing the Jays manager a couple weeks ago.
Well, and they had a team meeting, and they're 8-3 since, or 9-3. I just said he was in trouble because he blew 2 games in a row, and he blew them like key manager. I mean, he forgot how many times he had gone to the mound in an inning. So when he went out the second time, he had to take his pitcher out. He's arguing with the umpire. The umpire's like, dude, it's your second time out here. Was this on like Sports South, Shimko? I mean, it had to be. I mean, it's a Braves broadcast. It's a good point, Bolts fan. If it's the Rays, then all of them are inferior opponents. Well done. Although Texas coming to town, 3-game series. Hope they draw some people. Only 2 best teams in American League. Of course, Fox is going to give us the Cubs and the Giants, not the Rays and the Rangers on Saturday. Nice little show we lined up today, huh?
Yeah, that's great.
Nice to not have to work hard to end the week, right? I like Frank Coor, Shimko. I like him as a commentator.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes after the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Starting 5, coming up in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Hey, did you see what your Big Ten did yesterday?
Yeah, they gave out schedules for a couple of years.
How in the world could they do that? How in the world could you have a 16-team conference, play 9 conference games, eliminate the divisions, and put a schedule out 2 years in advance? How is that possible?
Looked like it was pretty easy. In fact, simple, you would say.
Were you not paying attention last week in Destin? Middle East peace is the only thing tougher than an 8 or 9 game SEC schedule going forward. And yet somehow the Big Ten, working in 2 schools, by the way, who are a minimum 1,500 miles away from the other 14 schools, no problem. No problem at all. I mean, they haven't given you the dates, but you know who you're playing for the next 2 years, and you know if you're playing them home or away.
Very NFL-esque.
Yeah. Tell you what, though.
In fact, with that, they could have a schedule release party or a schedule release show on the Big Ten Network now.
Well, Rich Eisen, he's a Michigan guy. Fox owns the Big Ten Network. I mean, Rich Eisen could, he could host that too. Say, I do schedule releases, guys. Okay, he could say to Dave Rebson, sorry, Dave. This is I do drafts and schedule releases.
And you guys don't have a draft yet, but when you do, right, I'll be there for that too.
Right. That'll be colleges, though. You'll be drafting which schools you're adding to the conference. I don't think I'm off base in coming to this conclusion. Tell me if I am. So if they just released their schedule for 2024 and 2025,
yep,
it would seem to mean that they're not going to add any schools before 2026.
You read it the same way I did.
Okay.
We don't know how many teams are going to be in this conference going forward, but for the next couple of years, we're set.
So, that's,
Big 12, your move.
Well, yeah, and Pac-12, Oregon, Washington, or what have you. Figure out what the hell you're doing. Let us know. We're set. We're good. We got games. We got 3 networks. We're fine. You guys just figure out what you do your little, gunfight there, shootout amongst yourselves. We'll see who's left standing and, hang out by your phone. Maybe we'll call.
Don't count on it, but maybe we will.
And stop calling us, okay? Please. Stop it already. Enough. But so they protected 11 games. Did you see that? The conference said, listen, these 11 games, they have to happen, and they have to happen every year. I'm going to rattle them off for you. And most of them, I think, if people put a little bit of thought to it, and I know it's early on a Friday morning and you're tired and what have you, and you're like, come on, don't make me. No, we'll give them to you. Obviously, we're going to have Michigan, Ohio State. We're going to have UCLA, USC. I mean, come on. There's some obvious stuff here. Indiana and Purdue are going to play each other. By the way, Iowa has 3 protected games. 3 protected games. Minnesota, Nebraska, Wisconsin. 3
out of the 11.
Penn State, out of the 11 protected games,
Oh, right.
Iowa's got 3 of them. Right. Michigan's got 2. Ohio State and Michigan State. There were some that wanted the Big Ten to also include Michigan, Minnesota. They don't play every year, haven't for about 15 years now. But that's the little brown jug game. You know how the Big Ten feels about playing for their, trophy.
Pigs, axes.
Yeah. All right. Floyd, right. The whole deal.
Platoons.
Yes. So, but that would have given Michigan 3 protected games. By the way, Penn State does not have a protected game. Think about that. Been in the conference, 30 years? 30 years, and yet, not even, against Sparty, which they tried.
The Land Grant Trophy? I mean, how the hell can you end that rivalry?
It's possible, Mark. That's all I'm saying. It's possible.
I don't know, as a Spartan alum, how I'm going to get through today now.
You're
telling me we're not playing Indiana for the old brass spittoon and Penn State for the Land Grant Trophy every year. How am I going to get through the day?
Now, listen, don't joke about playing Indiana for a spittoon, because that might actually be a real thing, and, you're throwing us off here.
Sparty plays Indiana for the old brass spittoon.
Seriously?
Jesus, yes.
That does sound like a joke. I mean, that does.
Trophies in the Big Ten sound like a joke.
That sounds like if you put the poll question up there, multiple choice there, and you could have 3 games that are real, and then that would be the 4th one in which you go, come on, that can't be real. Play for a spittoon? Okay. Illinois Northwestern's guaranteed. So is Illinois Purdue. Apparently they play for Purdue's Cannon. I didn't know that. And how come Illinois doesn't put anything up? How come it's only Purdue that's risking their cannon? Doesn't Illinois have to put something on the line? Indiana, Purdue, Iowa, Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin. Maryland, Rutgers got protected. I nearly fell over.
How the Big Ten would survive without Maryland and Rutgers playing every year.
I nearly fell over. Never mind the fact that Rutgers is saying, got to be honest with you, I'd prefer to play Penn State every year, even though they'd beat us most years. I just, border thing and recruiting thing, I'd rather play Penn State. Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin. We were Paul Bunyan's axe.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Damn right we're playing for that axe.
Well, remember the pandemic year, they didn't play.
I know.
And then USC, UCLA. So those are the 11 games that are protected.
How in the hell is Rutgers, Maryland on that list?
I know. And Penn State has to be like, hold on a second. Rutgers and Maryland get a protected game and none of our games? I mean, seriously, isn't that when you call up and go, really? Our Michigan State game? You mean to tell me Maryland Rutgers is more important in this conference than Michigan State Penn State, which gets played on Black Friday? I mean, it's actually going to become a noteworthy game in the Big Ten from a television standpoint. You have networks competing to televise that game. I mean, the two schools...
they did move it to Ford Field to play on Black Friday. The Big Ten thinks highly enough of it to take it away from East Lansing, put it at Ford Field, and make it a marquee game.
Yeah, because you've got literally 3 networks who want to televise that game. Meanwhile, you got Penn State, Michigan State going, what the hell's the big deal? Big Ten Conference going, I don't know what to tell you, baby, but you guys are up for auction and the money is flowing in. So I will say, from a scheduling standpoint, here are some of the games that are going to take place next year in the Big Ten. Michigan's going to USC. Ohio State's going to UCLA. UCLA's going to Michigan. USC's going to Penn State. Wisconsin's going to go to both Michigan and USC. Oh, Iowa's going to Ohio State. Nebraska's going to UCLA. Got to admit, they've managed, Mark, to have some of their marquee teams actually play each other. How about that? Starting five is next, Miller and Moulton.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. No, they did not, James. Sparty just gets a Big Ten schedule, basically.
I'll be damned. The old brass spittoon.
Oh, I'm sorry. 25. Sparty got you. Sparty gets both in 25.
So they host one and go to one, or no?
Yep. They host UCLA and go to USC, it looks like. I had MLB Network on the second TV, and they had the Blue Jays Astros game on. And every time they kept showing highlights of Braves Mets, I just kept laughing.
Mark, who won?
Well, the Braves did.
Why is that, Mark?
They played the Mets.
Where?
It doesn't matter.
A little bit. It's an absolute mortal lock if it's south of Philadelphia. Correct. I text my best friend when it was 10-6, or it was 10-7 in the 7th, right? I think that's what it was. I text him. I go, I'm telling you, this one's not safe. 10-6 in the 7th, I think it was. I go, this one's not safe. Because he had also, you knew the Mets only have 2 relievers he's got confidence in, and 1 he had used up. So you knew their 8th inning guy wasn't pitching, who hasn't been pitching well, but you knew he wasn't pitching anyway.
If it's close, you've got to cancel the Belmont with everything that's going on in horse racing, David. I mean, how do you run this race and risk more horses dying?
We welcome to the show Kurt Becker. Kurt, can horses wear masks? I'll hang up and listen.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Glenn Davis will join us an hour from now to talk about Messi going to Miami. How big of a deal is this going to be? Is this going to work? Pat Reusse, Kurt Becker, Tony Fiorentino, they're all joining us in the 8 o'clock hour. We got a jam-packed show. Got a jam-packed sports world. Let's get right to it. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Florida Panthers, baby. Whew. Vegas scored 2 power play goals. They were up 2-1 late third. Panthers got some big saves from Bob in the third period to keep them within 1. Then they pulled Bob with about 3 minutes to go. Put the extra skater out there, and it worked. Matthew Tkachuk buried a rebound from in front with 2:13 to go. Let's go to overtime, tied at 2. And this just in, ladies and gentlemen. Congress passed a law 2 months ago that if a NHL playoff game goes to overtime involving the Florida Panthers, then they must win.
They have won more games in overtime this postseason than they have won games in regulation.
They've won 13 playoff games, 7 of them in OT. They are 7-0 in overtime. And they had to kill a penalty to start overtime, and a BS penalty at that.
Horrible, horrible, horrible.
Wow.
They've been bad enough. They've been undisciplined enough, and they were undisciplined again last night, taking a couple of bad penalties early in the game that cost them and damn near cost them the game. But that penalty they called with 11 seconds left was gross.
The NHL, they need to thank the Florida Panthers. Honestly, if Vegas had won, they needed to not win on the power play in the first 2 minutes of overtime. But Carter Verhaeghe with a wrister straight on Got to be honest with you. Aiden Hill's got to stop that one.
Every single time. It's a bad goal.
It's a 35, 40-foot wrister, glove side. You got to stop that. Good. I was a very good shot, but beat him high, glove side. Panthers 3-2 in overtime. They're back in the series. Game 4 tomorrow night, sunrise. NBA Game 4 is tonight in Miami. Heat down 2-1 to Denver. Nuggets a 3.5-point favorite. Tell you what, Heat need to win a home game. After winning their first 6 home playoff games this year, they've lost 3 in a row. And 2 of them were not even close. Let's see if the Heat got a little something for the Nuggets tonight. Tony Fiorentino in a couple hours. Get his thoughts as to what they're going to bring to the fight. Baseball. Rays have won 6 in a row. Doubled up the Twins 4-2. Harold Ramirez broke a tie with a 2-run homer. Their lead 6.5 over the Orioles, who did rally with 3 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th, and beat Milwaukee 6-3. Yankees split a pair with the White Sox. They had to make up doubleheader because Wednesday's game got postponed because of the forest fires and the fog and the smoke from Canada. White Sox won the first game 6-5. Yankees won the nightcap 3-spit. Yanks are 8.5 back. Remember when they had climbed to within 5? 8.5 back. Toronto's 9-3 since the Rays took 3 out of 4 from them 2 weeks ago, and Toronto held the team meeting in the Rays clubhouse, or at least the stadium clubhouse in St. Pete before they boarded the plane. The Rays travel people were like, "Come on, we got to go." I said, "No, we're having a meeting. We'll let you know when we're done." Toronto beat Houston 3-2 for the second straight day. They're 9-3 since that team meeting. They're only a game behind the Yankees for the final playoff spot in the AL. Red Sox have lost 5 of 6. They're now below 500. Yet they'd still be leading, I believe, the AL Central. They'd either be tied or...
I believe tied.
Cleveland beat them 10-3. Jose Ramirez hit 3 home runs. That's kind of impressive. Cleveland's 4 games below 500. They're just a game and a half back in the Central. Mark, the Twins have made the fatal mistake that we've been saying about the NL Central, that the Brewers and or the Pirates better put the Cardinals away. Don't give the Cardinals life. Well, the Twins have given the Guardians life.
They have.
And they're going to pay for it.
They really are. David, look, I know they have no shot, but I follow the Tigers. When you lose 6 in a row and you only lose a game or a half a game in the standings,
right?
The division's not good.
Right. Giants with 3 in the 9th to beat Colorado 6-4. I mentioned this because that's the 11th straight time San Francisco has beaten Colorado. Wow. Angels sweep the Cubs. They've won 4 in a row, 3-1 the final. You know, that Dodgers-Reds game that we were really looking forward to, after the Reds had 2 dramatic wins. How would the Dodgers handle it? Well, they sent Kershaw to the hill. That's how they handled it. He threw 7 shutout innings. It was like, you send the adult to the party. That's what you do. You send the adult. 6-0 Dodgers. Phillies have won 5 in a row. It helped that they played Detroit, but hey, they won 5 in a row. They scored 2 in the 9th to beat Detroit 3-2. And Mark, the Mets played the Braves in Atlanta. What do you think happened?
All hell will break loose, and at the end of the game, Atlanta will win.
Man, you know your stuff. Mark, the Mets had a 10-6 lead going to the 7th. Braves scored 1 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th, 3 in the 10th. To walk off the Mets 13-10.
I have an acquaintance, and it's not a friend. David is my Mets friend. I have a Mets acquaintance. I have neighbors who walk the neighborhood every day, husband and wife. And they literally pass by my house at 10:06, 10:07 every morning, just as I'm pulling in, leaving what we got to do quickly after the show. And she is beyond herself. She knows what I do for a living, And her husband's had enough listening to her about the Mets. So every day I get out of the car and every day I hear her complain about the New York Mets. Today will be epic. Epic.
You need to race out of here when the show's over. You have to get home in time. You have to be sitting on like the hood of your car waiting for her. Because she's either going to walk right by you and go, I have nothing to say. Or she's going to stop and spend 20 minutes and he's going to do like 2 laps.
It'll be B. Trust me, it'll be B.
And the Arizona-Washington game got postponed in our nation's capital because of the smoke from the Canadian wildfires, which, by the way, has put tomorrow's Belmont in jeopardy.
Damn Canadians.
They canceled workouts yesterday at Belmont Park for the horses. I mean, the air is not, it's not close to good. I mean, it isn't. Apparently, there's, I don't know, this air quality index, and you need it to be below 500 to be like normal. And right now it's in the 200s. And the governor of New York came out and said, it's got to be below 200 to run that race Saturday. It doesn't have to be normal, but it's got to be below 200.
Is that, and I'm not being smart because I didn't see the governor's release. Is that just for the people attending the race? Because I can't think the governor knows squat about what the horses need.
Right. No. She said for everyone involved, including the horses, it's got to be below 200.
Because we pay a little bit of attention to horse racing, particularly the Triple Crown. And I don't know if you're aware, this has been a particularly bad spring and summer,
right,
for horse racing.
12 horses have died in Kentucky in the last 2 months.
They're not racing at Churchill.
Right, that's it. Last weekend was it. They're done. Why? Because horses are dying. So now in New York, to wrap up the Triple Crown series, they may put 6 or 8 horses out there where the smog could kill you.
Right. And how about you guys go run a 1.5 miles, the most enduring race that we have of the Triple Crown?
Exactly. By the way, do we have masks for these horses? All right. What was those special masks? Like
need
those
long strings to get over the ears.
Those K5 masks or whatever they were. Do we have any of them for horses? One other baseball note. In Nevada, the state Senate called the special session, and they've been arguing at each other all week, and they still haven't even put the Ace Stadium proposal up for a vote. College softball, Oklahoma did it. Florida State took a 1-0 lead to the 5th, brought their best pitcher in too, who hadn't given up 2 homers in a game all season. She gives up back-to-back in the 5th. Oklahoma tacks on 1 more, wins it 3-1. Their 3rd straight title, 53 straight. They ended the season winning. 53 in a row. They went 61-1 on the season. They lost to Baylor 4-3 in February. College baseball super regionals get underway today and tonight. Gators series against South Carolina begins at 6 o'clock tonight on ESPN2 if you're interested. It's a best of 3. Remember, we told you TCU got the break that Indiana State advanced to the super regionals, but they can't host because Terre Haute's hosting the Special Olympics. Yeah, TCU sold out their super regional. Indiana State's the home team. Okay, they are. It's TCU at Indiana State on the scorecard, but the game's at TCU in front of 10,000 fans.
That sucks for Indiana State.
It really does. NFL, the Vikings have told running back Dalvin Cook, we're going to cut you. We're trying to trade you. But otherwise, we're going to cut you no later than today. Denver signed former Kansas City defensive end Frank Clark to a 1-year deal. $5.5 million base, $2 extra million in incentives. Now, Frank Clark's okay during the regular season. Frank Clark has the 3rd most playoff sacks all time. So if Denver makes the playoffs, this is a hell of a signing. Carolina's not playing around. They're already listing Bryce Young as their first-team quarterback. And the Rams signed wide receiver DeMarcus Robinson. He had 48 catches and a couple touchdowns with Baltimore last year. As we mentioned last segment, Big Ten ditched their divisions. They're protecting 11 games, and they release schedules or at least opponents for the next 2 years, where everyone's going to play everyone at least once. Are you listening, SEC? It's not that hard. Golf, four-way tie for the lead at the Canadian Open. One of the four, Corey Connors, he's Canadian. Mark, last time the Canadian won the Canadian Open? Eisenhower administration, 54. LPGA trying to play in Atlantic City. This just in, the air's not good. They don't know if they're going to play today. They honestly don't. They're going to wake up about now, figure it out. They want to, but they don't know if they're playing today. Tennis, French Open, the men's semis are today. Alcaraz and Djokovic, the 1 and the 3 seeds. Most people feel it's basically the final. Yesterday, top seed Swiatek advanced in straight sets, but the second seed got upset. She was up 5-2 in the third, had a match point, and unseeded Karolina Muchova came back and won 5 straight games and beat her.
Now that's impressive to be down a match point 5-2 and come back and win the whole thing.
And she was cramping. Okay, so in between points, she's like limping around. 19 minutes later, she had won the match. And at 9 minutes before the hour, that was
the starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
By the way, Djokovic, the underdog, like a 2-1 underdog. You can get money on Novak Djokovic. Don't you? If you've never bet a tennis match before and you're a degenerate, aren't you tempted now?
If you've never bet a tennis match, but you're a degenerate, have to bet this one.
Just saying. I'm just saying.
Carlos Alcaraz is 20, and he's favored over Djokovic.
Right.
A French Open semifinal. That is unreal.
Didn't they play last year? Like a really tough match? I mean, he's the top seed.
Yeah.
Djokovic won this tournament twice. If Djokovic wins the tournament, by the way, he'll be the only player, at least on the men's side, to have won all 4 Grand Slams 3 times.
Now that's the kind of stuff that might put him over the top.
That's Jack and Tiger.
Yeah.
I mean, that is. If you look, Jack and Tiger, they won all 4 majors at least 3 times.
Would that put him to number 1 in your book? All time?
Yes. For me, it would. Plus, he had to go through Federer and Nadal to do all this.
Miller and Moulton. The text line's open at 21,000. Would love to hear from you. Lots of guests coming up. Great show lined up for you. Thanks for listening. Right here, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Rawls, Fred Hickman, the CNN for the day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the play of the day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the day.
That's Clutch with a K. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Hey, any idea where this French Open match can be watched at?
Hold on. Could it be the tennis channel?
Maybe. I don't know if that's on YouTube TV.
Yeah, it's on NBC, Peacock, and the Tennis Channel.
Oh.
Hold on. Tennis Channel, 8 o'clock. Oh, 11. Okay, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. today. It's on the Tennis Channel. But in the middle of that, from 11 to 3, it's on Peacock.
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 So what you're saying is I can't watch it.
You don't have Peacock?
I'm not paying $4.99 a month for Peacock.
Well, then you're not watching the finals on the weekend either, because the finals are on Peacock, according to this.
It's ridiculous.
Although, no, it says NBC, and then in parentheses it says stream. So maybe actually 11 to 3 today's NBC.
Yeah, it starts right now. The match begins at 7.
Right, but you'll see it on tape delay. I mean, it's the French Open.
I can assure you I won't see it on tape delay. I would have put it on if I could have watched it live while we were doing the show to give updates.
Man, I was really looking forward to watching it during the show today. That's a damn shame.
Peacock's $5 a month.
Yes, it is.
It starts at 8:45.
Yeah, actually, it may just be Peacock.
Man.
I'm reading a story on Yahoo. They list the coverage today on Tennis Channel and Peacock, and the coverage on the weekend both on Peacock. We are watching The Mayor of Kingstown on Paramount Plus. Oh, man. It is violent. It is nasty. It is awesome. Character development, which is very Sopranos-esque. I mean, it's magnificent. but brutally violent. Like my wife puts her head in the pillow and says, mute it and tell me when it's over. Yet is riveted by the show.
There you go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Friday. Thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Glenn Davis will join us in about 35 minutes. Talk about Messi to Miami. How big is this going to be? After all, it's the MLS. After all, the only way you can get the MLS is to pay for a streaming channel. But then again, if that's the future and the future is now, is it really a big deal? And will it make you pay for that streaming channel? Talk to Glenn Davis. He's covered soccer for 30 years.
And what I find fascinating about this is I get that Messi's the GOAT. I'm not at all denying any of the man's tremendous talents and accomplishments. But most people, when they bring up soccer on our show, if they watch the Premier League,
Correct.
Of which he didn't play in. And now they're going to fork over $50 to watch him play in MLS when they weren't watching him play before.
Well, you said something yesterday, though, which may be the real benefit here. Don't know how many people in the U.S. are going to pay to watch Messi. But how many people worldwide are going to pay to watch Messi?
No, and if that's the case, and I think that's what he's betting on, of his 400 million followers on social media, how many of those does he convert into Apple Plus subscribers for his games? Because you're not going to be able to get an Inter Miami ticket.
No. And it's going to be tough to get one on the road, too.
Literally, I saw people talking about buying Orlando season tickets prorated for the rest of the year so they could get the one game with Messi in it.
Totally. In fact, tell me if you want that. Because I'm 2 hours away. I can do it. It's shorter for me than you. Let me know. I'll be a team player. We can split it. Remember, we're building up the LLC again. I gambled away all our money a week and a half ago on the Heat midway through the Celtics series. So I'm building it back up. We've gone from $6 to $38. Maybe this is a way to fortify the account. In fact, considering I lost all our money, how about if I buy the tickets? We split the profits.
I don't think there'll be any profits. This would be a loss unless we just want to sell the one game. And
Right.
I don't know if that would get you back your whole season. I think you'd be sacrificing that to go see the one game.
The thing that does excite me about this, because obviously when you're the not even secondary league, when you're fifth to eighth somewhere
like that,
somewhere between 5 and 8 in terms of the quality of the league on the world soccer stage. But like when Pele came, okay, Pele's prime was in his rearview mirror. I mean, he was still special, but his prime, he was not the best player in the North American Soccer League. When he came over, he was the most famous, but he wasn't the best. I mean, he actually had one or two guys on his team who were arguably better. Messi, I mean, he just led his host nation to the World Cup, even though he's probably just a step on the downside of his prime, if you know what I mean. But, he's much closer. Mark, we talk about the back nine of a sports career and of a life. When Pele showed up for the North American Soccer League, Pele was like putting out on 15 on the 16T. Okay. Messi shows up here. Messi could play in another World Cup. Now, he may not start and play 90 minutes a match, but I mean, would it shock you if Messi was like, first substitute, came in
Yes.
for the second half?
Yes.
Okay, wouldn't me.
So you think he's more like on 10, 11.
I think he's on 12 to 13.
Okay.
I do.
I think it's closer to 13. The problem is he could play the next 3 holes in a hurry, if you know what I mean.
Well, that's true.
When you're that age, I'm not trying to be a smart aleck, but when you're that age, you can blow through that back 9 really quickly, and all of a sudden they go, wow, your round's over.
But I think Messi shows up at the MLS. Not only is soccer much more popular in this country now than it was when Beckham arrived in 07, but Messi's got more in the tank, and he was a far better player. And Beckham was great, but Messi's a legend. And he just did something legendary. Like, Mark, I think you could argue, was Messi the second or third best player in the World Cup? I mean, on the team they beat in the final, I mean, that guy who scored all 3 goals, he was the best player in the World Cup. But you could argue Messi was the second or third best player in the World Cup.
You know what's funny? They were teammates. The first and second best players in the World Cup were teammates at PSG, and now he is leaving PSG.
And so that, I will say, so just from as a sports fan standpoint, I just feel as if, there's more holes left in the round. There's more gas left in the tank. Remember you talked about when you saw Gretzky at his last All-Star game and he had the one shift in which you went, that was Wayne Gretzky. He's going to have 20 shifts tonight, but that one, he was Wayne Gretzky. Okay. I think Messi, I think he's still going to give us moments in which we go, I'll be damned.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt, because he's also going to be able to do it against completely inferior opponent. He's going to make guys. I mean, it's going to make a lot of ESPN top 10 lists because he's going to make guys look silly.
So we'll talk to Glenn Davis about it coming up in 30 minutes time. Panthers make it a series in overtime. And can the Heat keep it a series tonight? 3.5-point dogs are Miami. It's funny. Here they are. Game 4 of the NBA Finals. They've lost 5 of their last 7. I don't know if that's ever happened before for a team that's midway through the NBA Finals.
That is a crazy number. And how do they get back to getting the open looks? They were able to in the first 3 games to get first 2 games rather to get open looks. Game 3, the open looks went away. Denver's defense was better. They contested far more of Miami's 3-point shots than they had really in the previous 2 games combined, because Miami in game 1 that they lost still had all kinds of open looks from beyond the arc.
I know Miami's going to make an adjustment tonight. I don't think that both Jokic and Murray will go cuckoo tonight like they did in game 3 and like they did in game 1. I don't think it's a coincidence, Mark. This just in. If they both go nuts, Denver wins. When only one of them goes nuts, Miami has a much better chance of winning. So if you're Miami, don't you focus on, I don't know, Murray? Let Jokic have his. Why? He's going to get his. Make sure Murray doesn't get his. Make 37 more like 17.
Well, and they ran those 2, running a 2-man game. What was it, like 30 times, something like that, the stat was, which they hadn't done all year. They made an adjustment offensively that they hadn't done. Now, what does Miami do to counter that?
But the one thing that scares me, because I do think Miami will make an adjustment, Denver didn't shoot the 3 worth a damn in game 3. They only made 5 of them, and yet they won easily. Denver can shoot the 3. I mean, if you're Miami, Michael Porter has to continue to be in the witness protection program if you're going to win this series. And so far, 2 out of the 3 games, Michael Porter's been awful. Because if all of a sudden tonight he hits 3 or 4 threes, oh boy. So So that's the part, Mark, in which I'm like, man, can he just continue to suck?
You know, there's your little game within a game. Strus or Porter, who makes more 3-pointers? I mean, from the way this series has gone, because you kind of know what you're getting out of Bam and Butler. I don't know if you know what you're getting out of Jokic. Murray's, you got a pretty good idea what you're getting. But who else is going to step up scoring-wise?
You know, also, it kind of went in reverse for the Heat in game 3. You know, what does Butler prefer to do? He prefers to get everybody else involved early. And then in the fourth quarter, give me the ball. Well, him and Bam were the only offense that the Heat had basically all night, but certainly early. And nobody else was getting involved. And nobody else was hitting their shots when Butler was trying to get them involved. I mean, Bam hit his shots in the first quarter, and then he didn't hit much after that.
Gabe Vincent was awful.
So that, to me, you know, my guess is it'll be, all right, listen, Butler's going to say, listen, I'm going to get my 25. I will. I mean, I may get more, but I'm definitely going to get my 25. I got to get all you get. You guys got to hit your threes early. That's what we need. That's when we're dangerous. Because nobody can guard me in the paint if you guys are hitting your threes. You guys aren't hitting your threes, they can sag off, make it harder on me.
I mean, Felipe, you're the biggest Heat fan of all of us. Don't you think when you get a Vincent or a Strus or whoever it is making that early three, as a fan, don't you just kind of breathe that sigh of relief and go, okay, now we got someone else scoring, as opposed to the way they bricked them up in a couple of the games that you're going, how are we going to get to 100, let alone 110 to win this thing?
Well, yes, but that was the case early in game 3, and then we all saw how that second half went down. But just, they need to win a third quarter. I think that's what they need to do. They throughout the whole season haven't come out very strong in third quarters, and they've absolutely dominated fourth quarters throughout this postseason run. So, got to finish.
And Denver did everything right except shoot the three in game 3, because they even won the fourth quarter, albeit by a point. But considering they had gotten their butt kicked in the 2 fourth quarters before that, that was considered a big win for the Nuggets. So game 4 tonight in Miami, 8:30 ABC. Ratings are good, by the way. They're only slightly behind last year's Celtics-Warriors series. Think about that. That's good news for the NBA.
It's really good news for the NBA, because this did not appear on paper to be a ratings type of series.
And by the way, this is the only game through the weekend. Game 5 is not till Monday.
Good old days when we get one at Sunday at 3:00
or 8:00. I mean,
I know.
I'm shocked. I mean, with the way these guys travel, I mean, for goodness sakes, back in the day, the Pistons and the Lakers and the Celtics and the Sixers and the Lakers used to play every other day, flying cross country and coach. I don't know what voice that was. I really don't.
Pistons were the first team to get their own plane. Remember that? During that era, they had round ball 1. They were flying private when everybody else was flying commercial. Might have been an advantage. Miller and Moulton. Glenn Davis coming up in 25 minutes right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Morning, Marco. Hope you're enjoying yourself. Jim, we will ask Glenn Davis, because Glenn Davis was broadcasting some of those Beckham matches. How much did Beckham bring to the table? Bryan Cranston says he's going to act for 3 more years. Wow. That's funny, Adam. I got one or two small things here. You got anything? I mean, very small, though.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Glenn Davis to talk Messi to Miami and his impact on the MLS. What will it be? Coming up in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Pat Reusse to join us in 40 minutes' time. A, because it had just been way too long since we've talked with one of our favorite guests. And B, because the Twins are going in the tank and the Vikings are about to cut their second best player. So,
and C, the Big Ten schedule came out, and he'll have some comments on USC and UCLA in the Big Ten.
And he's such a big PJ Fleck fan at Minnesota. I'm sure we can go down that road too. Kurt Becker in an hour, talk about the Belmont. That's if we're going to have the Belmont. Got these Canadian forest fires, and not only can people not breathe, but we're just guessing it's not good for the horses. And apparently it doesn't take much these days to kill a Triple Crown horse. Or maybe that's just the state of Kentucky. Who knows? So Kurt Becker will join us. Hopefully give us a winner in the Belmont and all that. Tony Fiorentino, a little over an hour from now, Game 4, Heat Nuggets. We'll ask him to put his coach's hat on, or coach's suit on. Back in his day, the coaches wore suits. Do you want to see the coaches go back to wearing suits?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You know me, David. You watch the Stanley Cup Finals, coaches look like coaches in that league. They look like they belong. They're not wearing a tracksuit, trying to act like they're a player.
Well, you have to admit the leagues go at this all differently. Hockey, the head coaches wear suits. So
They look great.
Okay. All right. In basketball, ever since the pandemic, it's just like,
Whatever you want to wear.
Whatever you have on when you grab your wallet and keys, you get in the car and you're late meeting someone for dinner. It's just whatever you're wearing, that's what you can wear to the arena and be the head coach.
It's the quarter zips, and they zip them all the way up and make them look like turtlenecks. It's ridiculous.
I'm shocked by Felipe's answer to this.
I am too.
Because I don't even know if Felipe owns a suit.
My two favorite coaches of all time are Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra. I mean, they make suits look as good as D-Wade made that Heat jersey look.
Well, Riley did anyway. Oh, well, though Spoelstra's such a good-looking guy. I mean, he can't make clothes look bad. So, but I'm just, it's been 3 years now. So we've had 3 seasons since the pandemic. The suits are gone. And they left the college basketball too. I mean, college basketball took a look at the NBA and said, well, if they're not wearing suits, then I'm not doing it necessarily either. And once Jay Wright retired, that was it. It's as if the whole sport said, well, hell, we don't have to wear a suit.
And I hate it for maybe the worst reason in the world. There was nothing better than the coach dismantling of his own wardrobe based on the level of angst he had with the officials or his team that day.
You missed the Gene Katie sport coat throw, do you?
Sport coat throw, the loosening of the tie.
Oh, the crowd would get all into it too. Oh, he's really mad now. Oh, look at him. Look at him, Johnny. He's taking off the coat. Oh, he just threw it. He got a technical.
Loved that.
Meanwhile, in baseball, they're still making the guys wear the damn uniforms. So which is worse? NFL, I mean, Belichick honestly looks like, we should pull up at the traffic light and give him $3.
Well, what's great, though, is Belichick comes to the game in a suit, leaves the game in a suit, and changes into that.
Right. Now, and it's NFL mandated, by the way. Remember, was it Mike Nolan who wanted to wear a suit to honor his dad, Dick Nolan, who dressed, I mean, as close to Tom Landry as any coach dressed in the 70s was Dick Nolan of the Niners. And Mike wanted to honor his late father by wearing a suit, and he got fined by the NFL for doing it. They're like, no, you wear NFL gear. This is all about selling stuff. Okay, why do you think October is pink month? We don't give a crap about breast cancer. We're selling merchandise. You got it? That's what this is about.
Well, and Del Rio wore a suit for a while too, right? When he coached, and if memory serves me right, this was at the time they were Reebok jerseys. Didn't Reebok come out with a couple of suits?
Yes.
So that the coaches didn't get fined.
Correct.
Because it wasn't just not wearing the suit, is that you had to use the apparel manufacturer that was dialed in with the league.
Right.
So Reebok came up with like 2 suits so that the coaches were in compliance with whatever silly rule they were breaking.
So.
And the baseball manager looks worse.
That's still the worst one of the group. It is. I mean,
Because
that's got to change.
What you have to then do is take every other coach and put them. I mean, it would look worse if the football coach, instead of what Belichick had on, if he had shoulder pads and a helmet.
What if he wore a jersey, though?
Well, that's the basketball coach. I mean, just take Spoelstra. Instead of wearing the pull-up, he's got the uni on.
Well, hold on, because a baseball jersey is probably the nicest, most formal jersey in sports. I mean, it's easy to get away with. You can wear like baggy pants,
Should a 65-year-old guy be wearing stirrups to make a pitching change?
That's the thing. It's hilarious whenever old, Tony La Russa is bending over with his gut hanging out in that jersey, trying to argue with the ump. It does look a little ridiculous, but if a former player who coaches wears it, does it make you, go back in time a little bit, or is it just ridiculous?
No, it's pretty much just ridiculous. Because all I can see is Earl Weaver and Tommy Lasorda from days long before you were born kicking dirt on umpires in a full uniform going, it really looks pitiful.
Like Aaron Boone, former Yankee. I mean, he's in uniform again. That's Aaron Boone.
Shouldn't be wearing a uniform. Those days are over.
I crave nostalgia.
Think about the soccer manager wearing the same gear. There's none of it that works.
Right. They're in suits, by the way, on the sidelines. And sometimes they take their jackets off and throw it.
Miller and Moulton, time now for our Clutch Vodka play of the day. Felipe, what do you have for us today?
The Panthers last night with their first Stanley Cup Finals win in franchise history. 2 minutes left in regulation. Down 1. Kachuk ties it up.
Right point backhand, long shot, and a save made by Hill. The turnaround follow-up from Bennett, blocked. Ekblad near point. Looks across. Big driver, Hagee. The rebound, they scored. It's Matthew Kachuk on the doorstep, and this game is tied at 2 with 2:13 to play in regulation time.
And then in overtime, Carter Verhaeghe with the winner.
Bennett up the near side, looks across Verhaeghe, high slot shot. He scores! Carter Verhaeghe, the overtime winner here in Game 3. The Panthers take it 3-2 the final.
Hanging around. Carter Verhaeghe flops a nut straight. Pay that man his money. Overtime winner for Carter Verhaeghe.
What was that stat that you said? The Panthers have had more overtime wins than regulation wins in this run. I mean, that is just insane. Panthers win series now 2-1 in favor of Vegas heading into Game 4.
Analysts going rounders there.
I know.
I don't know if I love it or hate it. I'm not sure yet. I've heard it 2 or 3 times, and I can't figure out which one it is.
If he had tried to work in a little more of the accent, I think I would have loved it more.
Hanging around. It's hard with that excitement because
it is. To go pay the man his money.
It's a slow, drawn-out line there that he had to cram in. And it is our Clutch Vodka play of the day. That's Clutch with the K. Check them out, clutchspirits.com, and look for Clutch Vodka wherever you buy your spirits.
We asked this an hour and a half ago. If only one of the South Florida teams is going to go back on the road with the Series 2-2, which one do you think it'll be, Panthers or Heat? Glenn Davis talking some soccer. Messi next.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Come on now, Hops. I will say, Mello, I've done 100 box jumps for the last 3 days, and I feel paralyzed. It hurts to drive.
Working on your vertical?
Yeah, I want to dunk. No, I'm never going to be able to.
On what, a 9-foot rim?
Yeah. I heard Lonnie Walker on a podcast say that when he was younger, his dad made him do like I don't know if it was 100. I think he might have said 500 box jumps every day, and that he got his first dunk when he was 12. But if I could ever dunk a basketball, that'd be the greatest moment of my life.
Can you get the rim?
Yeah, I could touch the rim.
Okay. How tall are you?
5'10". That's the problem. I have wingspan too. That's the thing. My wingspan is 6'3". That's why I'm so good at defense.
Felipe,
Slapping the ground.
you graduated college. You're not good at basketball. You're not. You didn't
That's
play,
like saying Adam Sandler is not good at basketball.
You didn't play college basketball. You're not good at basketball.
Adam Sandler is good at basketball.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. He's a pure hooper.
Chi-Town, not our problem, honestly.
Apparently, we're not on 104.3. Is there anything? We're on the rest of the stations. Can't do anything about it, Chi-Town. Sorry.
Yeah.
Text Chris Beasley.
Download the app.
Text Chris and Teague that's dead air on 104.3.
Oh, because that's a Fort Myers station.
I don't know. No idea.
Chi-Town, are you in Fort Myers?
I thought 98. I thought 104.3 was Naples, but I don't know. I really don't know. Oh, Fort Myers and Cape. Okay.
I got Glenn on hold. We're coming back now.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Tony Fiorentino, 1 hour from now, as we'll preview the Heat, Game 4. What changes do they need to make? What changes can they make? Down 2-1 against the Nuggets. Glenn Davis, kind enough to join us once again after playing soccer professionally. He's been broadcasting it for 30 years. He's got a tremendous soccer podcast called Soccer Matters. Soccer Matters. Follow Glenn on Twitter, Glenn Davis Sock, S-O-C. Glenn Davis, S-O-C. Glenn, it's David and Mark. Good morning. Thanks for doing this, particularly at this hour for you. How are you?
David and Mark, thanks very much. I'm fine. I'm up. I've been up anyway. I'm just preparing for an MLS game this weekend. So I'm always happy to come on your show and appreciate it.
Well, Glenn, what does Messi to Miami mean? We have, compared it to Pele coming to the Cosmos so many years ago. How big is this for the MLS?
Well, I think you nailed it. We've had these watershed moments over the course of the history of the game professionally in the U.S. Pelé in the 70s. David Beckham, breathed oxygen into a league that needed it so badly and illuminated the league to the rest of the world and opened the doors for other players to come here through both not only his great playing ability, but his celebrity. After that, you saw the infrastructure in MLS improve with all these new, beautiful, 20 to 25,000 seat stadiums. And, here you go again. You're going to get another incredible piece of awareness. Now, I don't, the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, it's not possible for any of those leagues to make a defining signing like this that can create this kind of an impact as an overall league. That's even before we talk about Inter Miami, who nobody really probably knew a whole lot about other than that Beckham was an owner. And, they're in last place and don't draw too well. And now all of a sudden, social media is blowing up and people are finding out about Inter Miami and MLS. So to pluck the most recognizable athlete in the world, I think you just got to sit there for a moment and think about that he's coming to your league and all the cause and effect that can have.
You had a guest on your show last night who covers Messi in Barcelona to get that perspective of the announcement. What is the rest of the soccer world thinking about this?
Yeah, so that's Jordi Sunyer. He's a great friend of mine. He's a journalist in Barcelona for TV3. It's different in different places. We have to remember Messi's coming from PSG. The French didn't particularly treat him that well, despite the fact that he's a World Cup winner. They couldn't care less about that. They wanted to get a Champions League title, which, Messi and PSG and Neymar and Mbappe were knocked out of the Champions League, which obviously is going to be contested tomorrow between Manchester City and Inter Milan. But he's had some, even on the way out of Barcelona, he's had some rough treatment. We say in this country, and I heard this a lot yesterday, we're getting him at the height of his career. And Jordi was in complete disagreement with that. He's still a phenomenal player, but the height of his career was probably in the glory years of Barcelona, going back a bit when they did the treble. So they're going to have to put the right team around him. He's turning 36 here in June, very shortly, I think in 2 weeks. The move is based on lifestyle, but there is increasing respect for Major League Soccer, and he even said that in Spain, that the respect for Major League Soccer and the things that are done in the league has permeated and has grown in Spain.
Glenn, how much will this help the Apple TV cause? The numbers have not been great. They've not released a whole lot, but word is that the subscription numbers were not tremendous. Will this lead to a lot more subscriptions, not just in the U.S., but will this lead to a lot more subscriptions worldwide? Does Messi have that kind of power where people across the globe are going to be watching MLS games?
Well, if Messi doesn't have the power, nobody does, and I would believe that the subscriptions are definitely gonna jump. I think, from my understanding and what I'm hearing, he gets a piece of each subscriber. So I think that obviously has to be the hope for Apple TV. And I've heard the same thing. I've heard that people have not wanted to grab another subscription to watch. And I have a lot of very ardent friends that are soccer fans, obviously, and they said, I'll pick up the odd game that may be on Fox, but I'm not signing up for the package. So, yeah, that is obviously one of the big hopes. I think it's a consortium of entities that are going to end up paying for his salary, and that includes every single Major League Soccer owner, but that's Adidas, Apple TV, and who knows what else. But, he even has come out and said very clearly, lifestyle, for his family is very important. That's one of the prime, if not the prime reason for him coming to the United States.
Glenn Davis broadcasts soccer, MLS, and others. All right. Has a tremendous soccer podcast called Soccer Matters. Soccer Matters. Follow Glenn on Twitter, Glenn Davis Soc, SOC, Glenn Davis SOC. All right. I threw this out there at my co-host. I think it was yesterday. I said, all right, here's my theory. This is the greatest time for this sport in our country. We are going to put the greatest U.S. men's national team on the pitch in the World Cup that we'll be hosting in 3 years. And Messi is going to play all of his soccer, all right, in this country right on through that World Cup. Okay. Glenn, this is all the chips in the middle of the table for men's soccer in the United States, isn't it? If you go back to the Cosmos, this is 50 years of work, and we're all in, aren't we?
Yeah, I think the tie-in you make with the World Cup and even the Copa America, which is going to come prior to the World Cup, I think these are, you've just said it. There's not a whole lot I can say more to that, these connections, these tie-ins, you got the World Cup winner here for Argentina, who's, obviously was in that moment that'll never be forgotten in history leading up to the 2026 World Cup that we'll be a part of hosting with Mexico and Canada. So I think all these things make all ships rise with the tide here. I don't think there's any question with social media, the attention with the game, the growth of it in all these different markets at various pro leagues here. Even, you have to talk about the USL, which is the tier below. There's markets here that are doing amazing things with the growth of professional soccer. So all of these things lead to increased awareness and connection. And, sometimes the over-commercialization of it, I'm going to be honest, but it becomes a little bit too much, some of these things. But there's no question it's growing, it's expanding. And, for me, I think there's a lot of unknown about what Messi's going to do that you can't even quantify right now just by the presence that he's going to be here. I mean, look at the effect he's already had. Even before it was officially signed, people were buying tickets, looking at schedules. When could he potentially be in this market? Ticket prices were tripling, and season tickets are flying off the shelf. Listen, Inter Miami's in last place and is one of the worst attended teams in all of Major League Soccer. And all of a sudden that's going to change, with the click of the finger.
All right. What does this mean to you long-term for MLS? Will this mean more players? Do you think Messi leads to more great players coming to this league? And how much better, because this league has a lot of room for growth on the world stage, how much better can MLS get with Messi? And then what else could come behind it?
Yeah, we always want things to come very quickly. I think that's the way it all goes. Listen, I think the quality of Major League Soccer is exponentially better. I mean, I'm here in Houston, and, they won 2 titles with a great team back in 2006 and 7 and have really struggled in the last 10 years. And I think back to 6 and 7, and I go, God, there was only 11 or 12 teams in the league then. Everybody played each other. Everybody knew each other. You only had to make a shorter playoff run to win the title, and that's not taking anything away from what they've done, but the growth, the stadiums, the interest, the growth of the supporters group, the use of the supporters group to grow the game, all of these things are just different. It's a 29-team league now. It's going to go over 30, right? San Diego is going to come in, supposedly paying $500 million. So, will Messi open the door for other players to come? Sure. I mean, David Beckham did that too, though. And, there's a lot of really good, young, talented foreign players coming. Argentina, South America seems to be the place right now where there's the best valuation. But, are we going to become the Premier League overnight because Lionel Messi's coming here? No.
My final question, Glenn, is, did this surprise you that he chose? Because obviously he's a legend, right? And he did have other options. The Saudis threw ridiculous money. He obviously wanted no part of that, but he could have returned to Barca. Okay. Each side debates, but he could have. All right. And he chose the MLS. Did it surprise you?
So I'm just a guy with an opinion. First of all, to go back to Barcelona was not going to be an easy thing to do. And from a financial standpoint, because of the financial problems they had, and my guest from Barcelona, Jordi Sunyer, on Soccer Matters, kind of got into that. You would have had to literally disassemble everything they've done up to this point now with Xavi rebuilding that team. They had a lot of sanctions put on them. They're clearing out some of the older guys, like Sergio Busquets and Jordi Alba. So it was not as easy as maybe we all thought to go back to Barcelona, because we know he loves Barcelona, right? He grew up there as a kid and then did all these amazing things as a soccer player there. No, I never thought Miami was out of it. I always thought it was a possibility, because I always think for guys like that are under the intensity and duress that they are in their lives with their families, and he's a real family guy. I love the fact that he's a humble athlete in the era of the athlete that pounds his chest. This guy just looks as though he loves soccer, just wants to be left alone, you know. So I always thought that lifestyle is a huge selling point for big stars in Major League Soccer, and the intensity of the media in places like Paris with PSG and Barcelona. It's a wonder these guys, live life the way they do. I mean, I have a niece that's married to a high-profile athlete, Derek Jeter, and I see the way they run their lives, and it's a completely different life than I have, and the way they think about things and the way they protect their privacy. So lifestyle is a great thing for Messi. He's going to get it in Florida.
Glenn Davis, soccer broadcaster, host of Soccer Matters, great show and podcast. Follow him on Twitter, Glenn Davis Soc, Glenn Davis SOC. Glenn, we're always appreciative of your time and insight, but particularly at this hour for you. Have a great call, and hopefully we'll talk soon.
Thank you very much. I always love coming on your show. Keep up the great work. And one other thing I'll just add, Tata Martino is going to be his coach. So they're already getting in a coach that he is very familiar with and likes and is an Argentine. So it's going to be interesting to see how they build it down there.
Well, he'll be getting top dollar and a lot of attention. That's for sure. Thank you, Glenn. Glenn Davis, Soccer Matters is the show. Glenn Davis SOC is how you follow him on Twitter. We learned something there. Didn't know his niece was Jeter's wife. So
we did not. We always learn more than that.
Also, he knows a little something about being famous and having a lifestyle in Miami.
There's no doubt there.
So there you have it. Messi to Miami and the potential impact. I'll tell you, Tim Reynolds wrote the story yesterday. We've been saying it now for weeks. I mean, the sports world seemingly is going through South Florida.
At this point in time, all roads lead to South Florida, David, whether it's Sunrise, Miami, or now Inter Miami with Messi coming aboard there. Even the baseball team obviously making a little noise right now. They've won 6 in a row and 7 in a row and look as if they're a playoff team, believe it or not.
Which is why I'm telling you, I think we should load up on some Dolphins bets. And maybe, what's the Canes over under again?
Just bet the over on the Canes and the Dolphins, right? I mean, don't you just start there?
What's the Dolphins over under? Is it 9.5?
Yep.
And the Canes is 7.5. I'd say we make blind bets today. We just go over.
Blind bets are a lot better than the ones we do where we spend a lot of time on them.
Certainly for me.
We have a terrific 8 o'clock hour ahead for you. Pat Reusse will join us coming up next. Kurt Becker to talk the Belmont and Tony Fiorentino to talk the Heat. All still ahead. Thanks so much for listening. Don't touch the dial. The show just gets better right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Napa Auto Parts and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. See that fun little stat I put up there? I had to copy and paste that tweet, David. The 16-year age gap is the largest for any round at a slam since Nadal and Agassi in 2006.
Wow.
That's joining via stream, right?
No.
I don't have his number.
Yeah, you do.
It's right on the DM. No, you don't.
No, I don't.
Hang on. I'll walk in and give it to you.
Oh, okay. Damn, I'm sorry.
We're coming back, but I'm calling him now.
Okay. My bad.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. We're just halfway home in the 239. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Great final hour of the week lined up for you. Tony Fiorentino to talk Game 4 Heat Nuggets in about 35 minutes. Kurt Becker and whether or not they're even going to race the damn Belmont. And then who's going to win it. But right now, in our opinion, one of the great sports writers of the last 50 years and a very talented sports talk show commentator, one Pat Reusse, joining us from Minneapolis, St. Paul. You can follow Pat on Twitter at Patrick_Reusse, Reusse. It's been a while. That's on us. Our apologies. How are you?
I am just fine. We have a perfect baseball team up here. Good pitching, no hitting, and speed up rules. These games are fantastic. 207, 217, and 207 in Tampa. Let's just concentrate on the time of game here and forget about the results. That's what I say as an old sports writer. These speed up rules are the greatest invention in the history of Western civilization, in my opinion. So, hello.
Yeah, well, no. First off, we're laughing. Secondly, okay, we didn't know if we wanted to go Twins since you brought them up, or the reason we called you yesterday was, what the hell are the Vikings doing? Why are they getting rid of seemingly most of their good players when they were the best team in the division last year?
Yes, and the division is no better than it was. I mean, people are talking about the Detroit Lions. Are you kidding me? They're always going to be the Detroit Lions. They could screw up a one-car parade. They're not going to, they had a fairly good year for them, which means they're going to stink this year. Then you got the Packers without a quarterback, and you got the Bears, who are supposed to be the worst team in the league. So, I don't know what they're giving up for, since they could dominate this division again, just like they did last year. Although Dalvin Cook is just, he's part of the most discriminated against group in America right now, running backs in the NFL. So I guess they don't want to pay a running back that much money. O'Connell comes from the Rams, and once they moved on from Gurley, they won the Super Bowl, and I think that's their whole theory is throw the ball, and then if you're going to run it, punch them up the middle. We'll use a little power, and they kept the other running back, and they let Dalvin go. They thought they could trade him, but all the clubs knowing they were going to get rid of him, just nobody gave him anything for him. So I don't know if the release is official yet or not. There's some thought that they might try to drag it out a little longer, but and really be bad guys here instead of let him go out and hit the market. But it's the whole running back thing as far as Dalvin Cook's concerned.
And it sounds like there's no chance of restructuring it as well. And you're right, Pat. I mean, this is a division there for the taking. I'm a Michigan native. I know what the Lions are. I loved your comments there. It's hard to think that they're the odds-on favorite to win the division. So why is it that this move works for the Vikings? Do you think it does?
They're going to have to sign Jefferson here pretty soon. They don't have to start paying him for a couple more years, but he didn't show up for the the volunteer part of minicamp or whatever we call it now. Obviously, he'd like to see the money on the table, and Danielle Hunter didn't show up either. He wants a new contract. So, they obviously had to find some cap money here if they're going to give a new deal to Hunter. So I think if it's Hunter or or Dalvin Cook. It's you got to keep Hunter because your defense was so rotten last year, and you got your new defensive coordinator, and you're going to be more aggressive and let him rush the quarterback instead of sitting and playing that whatever that defense they were playing last year. The Tampa 6 or something. They had nobody in the middle of the field, and it was brutal. So I guess that's the reason they're getting rid of Cook. It's amazing. He had 4 straight 1,000-yard years, and he did everything they asked him to do. They just didn't want him to do as much anymore. They didn't want to pay him. They wanted him to take half as much money. They wanted him to, take like a 50% cut, and he just said no. He didn't like him too well anyway, and I think because of the way they used him last year, he was a little down on him. So this is not a surprise to people.
But Pat, they got rid of Thielen.
Actually, that they weren't able to get anything for him in a trade was what kind of upset people.
But they got rid of their number 2 wide receiver. They got rid of a pass rusher. Now they're getting rid of Cook, who you mentioned is at least on the short list of all-time great Vikings running backs. You ranked him 4th. I mean, Cousins is in the final year of a deal, and they don't know if they're keeping him, and they have no plan B. What the hell are they doing?
I don't know. I don't. The general manager came out. He got his job a year ago, and then he came out and did an interview with USA Today, and said a bunch of goofy stuff that he ended up getting ripped about, and he went and hid for like the rest of the year. Even while they were winning games, he was a very reticent talker, and of course they're all like all the organizations, even more so. It's all about secrets out there. They don't really share much information. So Tom Pelissero's still got a pretty good connection out there because I think he broke the Cook thing originally. So, I don't know what they're doing. The only thing I know is they're making money. The Zigmeister is bringing in about $200 billion a year profit, and so I'm sure he's not too upset one way or the other. As long as these people start showing up, keep showing up 65,000 strong to Kent's goal before the game starts, they'll be perfectly happy.
Did the Twins give away this division in the first half? I mean, obviously where they are right now, they're still leading the division, but there have been so many opportunities for them to take a stranglehold of this thing, and they've been unable to do so. And here the Guardians right there on their heels again.
And the Mighty Whiteys too are, they started off, they were an embarrassment to civilization, but they're only 3 out now or something like that, 3.5. They have by far the best lineup. They have good pitching. The Guardians are only a couple of games behind them, but their lineup is brutal. It's they're almost as bad as the Twins when it comes to hitting. So I don't know. I thought when the year started, I said, hey, they're going to have good pitching and the hitting. The lineup won't be very good, but I'm stunned how rotten it is. Correa got a home run yesterday, but he's been brutal, and it isn't because he's got a sore foot. He's a $200 million a year guest hitter, taking about 8 called strikes a week on fastballs right down the middle. He's a hell of a shortstop, but he's been a big disappointment. Buxton's hurt again and can't play center field.
Wait a minute. Byron Buxton's hurt? Get out!
Shock. This last one though was an accident. He got hit in the ribs with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, and he bent him over, and they tried to play. It is interesting though, as one of the oldest sports writers in the entire universe. They said he couldn't swing without feeling pain, a couple of days ago. Well, that's baseball. Swing and feel some pain and get a hit. It's this whole idea that you're going to feel a 95% It's a long season. If you feel 80, the standard should be, are you good enough to play? Can you play? Could you play under any circumstances? Instead of, I want the guy to feel 100%. I like Baldelli as a guy, but we call him Doc Rock up here. If he was in the healthcare industry, they wouldn't they wouldn't allow you to send patients to him because he'd spend too much money on each of them. He protects these guys beyond belief. You know, he had his own problems, health with a bad foot when he was in Tampa, and it ruined his career. And he's got sympathy pains for everybody, and he doesn't play anybody when they can play. If they, you know, it's just incredible the way they give guys days off. Use any excuse. Well, our big joke is whenever anybody on the field like slides into second and they get up a little gimpy or something, he and the trainer run out there like they go into a 6-car accident someplace. It's got to go out and make sure make the guy limp off the field. Okay, don't go out there and beg him to leave the game, which is what they do.
Yeah, but at least the games are over by 9:30 now.
Oh God, they're unbelievable. The bar owners around town, they think it's great now, man. There's, everybody's coming in for a drink afterwards instead of beforehand. It's incredible. The fact that Manfred came up with something that works is hard to believe. I was at a Saints game last night, the AAA club that's up here now, 11 miles from the target field, and they were using the automatic strike zone, the computerized strike zone. And you really didn't notice it much. There's about a tick, where it takes the umpire to tell you whether it was a ball or a strike. But it's really, it's really quick. I think we're going to get it next year. I'm not a big fan of it because I like arguments with umpires, but I think we're going to get it. I think we're going to get it next year, and you really don't notice it much.
One of the best sports writers in America, and as he said, he's been doing it a while. He is Patrick Reusse, a standout in Minneapolis, St. Paul. You can follow him on Twitter at Patrick_Reusse, Reusse. Pat, thanks so much. All the best to you and the family. Stay well.
We'll do this again in a couple of years if I'm still alive.
In a couple of months tops.
We need a PJ Fleck report before the Gopher season starts.
Exactly.
We know how much Pat loves him.
I don't like the automatic strike zone because I like arguments with umpires.
And that would be my reason. That's my only reason against it. Is it takes out some of the fun of the arguments, but bring the beep, 1 beep, 2 beeps, whatever you got to do. Kurt Becker's next.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, Only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
In those 12 minutes, you got the most prejudiced group in America, running backs in the NFL. The Mighty Whiteys, Doc Rock for Baldelli. I don't want the automatic strike zone because I like arguing with umpires.
The fact that Manfred came up with something that works is hard to
Yes,
believe.
is phenomenal. Think about the series in St. Pete, too. Those were 5:40 Minneapolis start times. Those games were over by 8 locally. Pat Reusse, I'm sarcastic. Pat Reusse makes me seem like milk toast. And he does it in print. It is awesome. And I give him credit too. Like when he calls out the PJ Flex of the world, he shows up every time at the presser. He's right there. You want to go after Pat? He's right there.
You know what sounds good right now? A plate of meatballs. No spaghetti, just a plate of meatballs.
Are you trying to torture David right now?
I just want to ask you a question. Is there a time where that doesn't sound good?
There's just times when it sounds better than others. And right now, meatballs sound really good to me.
Interesting. You're feeling it at 8:18 a.m., huh?
Yeah, I'm going to make ribs today.
There's a place by my house in Miami called the Pizza Brooklyn that has some of the best meatballs I've ever had in my life. You know what? I might go there later today.
Going home for the weekend, are you?
I have to. I can't watch Game 4 of the finals in Fort Myers. To watch that in Miami.
See?
I might watch it in the heart of the city, honestly.
I was going to say, in the 239, they look at you, and they go, what the hell game are you talking about?
Yeah. Jesus. I was at Wicked Wings the other day, and not a single TV had the pregame.
Thank you. Thank you. And you keep questioning us.
I'm like, Jesus. By the way, I saw something just now that is another indication. I'll keep it quick because I have to call in I have 2 minutes. That stat that I said about the Inter Miami having more followers than all of North American sports clubs. It's all North American sports clubs except for the NBA. Because the NBA has a staggering amount of more followers on social media than the NFL because they're younger. Yeah, Inter Miami has more followers on Instagram than the Dallas Cowboys. The Messi effect. The Golden State Warriors have 30 million followers on Instagram.
To look at pictures, see videos. Yay. I don't think so, Logic, man. I think they lose tonight and win tomorrow. I know that's what Craig Brush is hoping for.
Reusse just texted me back. I thanked him. And he goes, I'm 77 and a half. I'm still writing 3 columns a week as a halftime contractor. What the is wrong with me? I said, you'd either be bored or come on, there's just too much crap going on and you got to throw in your 2 cents. I was told tonight's sold out, but there's tickets available for tomorrow for the Blades. Don't know if that's true or not.
Kurt's on hold. We're back in 10 seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Tony Fiorentino in a little more than 15 minutes time as we look ahead to tonight's game 4. Heat feels like a must win. Down 2-1 at home against the Nuggets. Denver 3.5 point favorite. They're racing the Belmont tomorrow, or are they? Kurt Becker, Horse Racing Radio Network. Follow him on Twitter at Becker Trackside. Kurt, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this as always. So do we think this race is going to happen?
It looks like, fellas, that we're in much better shape for it to happen today than we were 24 hours ago. The Canadian wildfires have been impacting the air quality across New York State. Governor Hochul in New York had called a press conference, had issued a statement with guidelines. She had set a threshold for air quality and said if that threshold wasn't met for the Belmont tomorrow, that the race would be canceled. She also had set up a plan whereby if air quality levels were in a different range, that she might allow the race to go forward, but horses would have to pass a vet exam. Well, thankfully, as of right now, air quality has improved significantly on Long Island, and the general take is we should be good to go for the weekend.
Just how scary is this right now? Curtis has been a lousy couple of months for horse racing with all of the horses dying at Churchill, and obviously a lot of the microscope's been put on the sport once again. Just how concerned are you as to this air quality and the horses not being able to practice the way they normally do leading up to this Belmont?
I think we should be okay in terms of the horses for the Belmont insofar as getting down to this window in the last 24 to 48 hours. It's primarily a matter of the horses just getting able to get out onto the track and stretch their legs. Their more significant morning workouts are already in the books and wrapped up a few days ago. But having said that, certainly it's important with equine athletes, no different than human athletes in the sense they do have to be able to maintain a certain regimen. And the horses, you're right, they do need to get out and gallop each morning. I think the plus side here is the fact that at least, even though training was suspended across New York, not only at Belmont but also at Saratoga yesterday morning, I think things this morning are back to normal with the morning training routine. So hoping that this was just a blip on the radar.
Kurt Becker, Horse Racing Radio Network. Follow him on Twitter at Becker Trackside. Becker Trackside. Hey, before we get to the actual race, I think a lot of people are going to be shocked tomorrow when they go to turn on NBC and they go, where the hell's the Belmont? It's on Fox. Fox never done a horse race before, at least not in this country. Your thoughts, and I know you're a radio guy, but, when the Triple Crown is not on one continuous network, we've never thought that was good for the sport.
Exactly. And I'll give you an example. Sometimes I do some work in the classic car world with classic car auctions at Barrett Jackson. And I've had people express frustration to me that when they want to watch a Barrett Jackson auction, it's on one network one day, another network the next day, a third network the third day, and people get frustrated and either they can't find it or they quit trying. I'm not a big fan of change, and I like consistency, and I think NBC's done a great job, and I'm surprised the New York Racing Association went a different direction and formed their own contract with Fox Sports. Now, I think the reason for that, I know that when COVID hit a few years ago, Fox did start to carry some horse racing just to fill programming time, because horse racing was one of the few sports that was able to get back in the immediate aftermath of COVID and get functional again. And then it was almost like coming out of this, the management at Fox Sports said, hey, we kind of like this idea, but now you're right. They've not had a great deal of experience with covering things like a Triple Crown race. So, look, I'm glad for the exposure for racing. I'm glad that at least the race is on a major network, but is it an ideal situation in terms of convenience for the public? No, it's not, and there will be some people, I think, caught off guard by it.
All right, when we had you on before the Belmont, you weren't all that satisfied with the field and didn't know how good the race was going to be. Turned out to be a pretty damn good race. But the Belmont, on the other hand, I'm seeing 4 horses that are 5-1 or better. This looks like a very competitive Belmont.
It does, and you're exactly right. And look, let's full disclosure, my picks have not been the best. I picked the horse that ran 4th in the Derby, and I went with Mage, and he ended up running 3rd. In fact, I think I said that he was the best of a mediocre group, and then he ends up running 3rd in the Preakness. But you're exactly right. You've got 9 horses that are entered for the Belmont. You've got a great big 1.5 mile track with huge sweeping turns. So everybody ought to have a legitimate shot. Traffic should not be an issue. You talked about the 4 horses that are 5-1 or lower on the morning line. One of the things that might be surprising is National Treasure, the horse that won the Preakness. He's actually 5-1. He's not even the morning line favorite in this race. That honor goes to Forte, the champion 2-year-old from last year. Forte's been on the shelf for several weeks. He was scratched from the Derby. He did not run in the Preakness. And I think there are going to be some people thinking he's vulnerable here, because there will be some skepticism if he's really in top form, just because of the fact he's not had a race to tighten up in a few weeks.
Kurt, do you think the sport's going to seriously consider making a change to the Triple Crown and putting the Derby in May and the Preakness in June and the Belmont July 4th weekend? Do you think that they will seriously consider that in the next couple years, or is that just something for us media folks to talk about?
I think that everything, all the options are on the table right now, guys. And look, I mean, I might compare it to the pitch clock in baseball. I mean, it's amazing how even some of our most traditional sports have undergone change for one reason or another. And I think the big factor here is the safety and well-being of the animal. By saying I think it's going to happen, I'm skeptical that it will, but by the same token, I think it will definitely be in the mix here in the years ahead.
All right, take a look at this Belmont. You mentioned all of the favorites. Who was it you like in the race?
I'm going to go with Angel of Empire from the barn of Brad Cox. That's the horse that won the Arkansas Derby. I thought he ran a huge race in the Kentucky Derby. He came from way deep in the pack. He actually kind of did like Mage, the winner of that race. He came from way deep, made up a lot of ground, ran 3rd. I think he's bred for the distance. I think Brad Cox can get it done. He won the race a couple of years ago with Essential Quality. So I'm going with him. And if you want a little bigger price, another Brad Cox horse, Hit Show, who I think is very talented colt. He's 10-1 on the morning line. I'm thinking it might be a Brad Cox exacta.
Kurt Becker, Horse Racing Radio Network. Follow him on Twitter at Becker Trackside. Becker Trackside. Kurt, stay safe this weekend. Have a great call, and hopefully we'll talk soon before the Breeders.
Fellas, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure.
Kurt Becker, one of the good guys out there. Been good to us over the years. Kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton.
And he isn't, as a horse guy, he doesn't just stay with tradition and doesn't just always be just a caretaker for the sport. He's not afraid to challenge what's going on and offer new ideas. And he has been on changing the format of the Triple Crown for quite a while. We've had Kurt on for a lot of years, and he's thought that format should go. And I really think that there's some momentum for it with what happened at Churchill this year and trying to keep the horses safe. I think for the first time there could actually be a change to the way we run the Triple Crown.
and I know we're up against it in this segment, but the last time we had him on the show, he said, we're training horses differently now. And because we're not training them to be as sturdy as we used to, don't you think then that we have to change our schedule? That the schedule may have worked once upon a time. We don't train horses that way anymore.
Miller and Moulton. Tony Fiorentino to talk about Game 4 between the Heat and the Nuggets. That is next, right here on the Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Hey, just a thought here that we cut this short by about 3 or 4 minutes to finish off the week with you and I, because it's been 4 straight guests, if you know what I mean, to finish off the network show, if you will.
Yeah. There's 2 things coming out on the PGA LIV story. Is that one, the details are not what was being widely reported 2 days ago. There's a Sports Illustrated guy who actually got the guy who negotiated the deal to lay it out. And I will say, if he's right, then I'm surprised that Jay Monahan said what he was saying the other day, because he should have shot everybody down. Because this guy made it seem as if like Jay Monahan's in control of the world, and even the Saudi guy is, which I can't believe for a second. But the other thing is that apparently this could not pass muster because of it's a monopoly, and that
the DOJ would come and get involved in this?
And apparently a lot of different factions would be like, this ain't going to work. The other thing in this story, though, it makes it sound as if like LIV is gone. That will be just completely disbanded.
Sal Capaccio that we have on, I think I'm saying that right. Funny tweet. The Patriots are currently the 4th best team in the AFC East. If they add DeAndre Hopkins, they are the 4th best team in the AFC East. Sonny, I believe we're just not on 104.3. I've not heard anything else that we're not on 770 or 98.1. Usually we hear these things.
And Sonny, we don't tout ourselves very often. We probably should do a better job of that. But there is no doubt that if everything that was around us was equal to just the show, this would be tremendous. Because it's not the greatest show in the world, but it's solid. And everything around us isn't.
Philly, wait a minute. You make breakfast, she makes dinner. You guys living together? He's on the phone.
I was going to say, Mom and Grandma better not be listening.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour is up. Our final segment along the network in Lake City, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The bonus hour in the 239 begins at the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Tony Fiorentino, longtime Heat broadcaster, and before that, an assistant coach, kind enough to join us. You can follow Tony on Twitter at Tony Heat WC3X, and that Twitter handle may have to change in a week. Tony Heat WC3X. Tony, it's David and Mark. How are you?
Hey guys, I'd like to have that problem. Let's change it, man. Let's make it 4X.
All right. Well, Tony, how did they get the three-point shooters open again? The one thing Denver did a really good job of, they did a few good things in game 3. They rebounded the ball really well, but they really contested the threes because in games 1 and 2, even though Miami lost game 1, Miami had a lot of open looks. How do they get back to getting those open looks in game 4 tonight?
Well, that really wasn't the problem in that game. I know that Heat only went 11 for 35, so you're right. They did a better job of contesting the threes. But the Heat's problem was they were so poor in the paint. And you look at the Heat was 17 for 46 in the paint, 37%. Jimmy and Bam were 11 for 32, the two of them, points in the shooting in the paint. Now, normally, you shoot 60, 65%. Those are the best percentage shots. Now, some of it you got to give credit to the Joker because he's long, got those long arms and can contest shots and things like that. But when you there's no way you're going to win a game. I don't care who you're playing, regular season, playoffs. If you get into the paint and you only go 17 for 46, I mean, you miss almost 30 shots in the paint, and that and then what happens is that they did two things, Denver, to improve over the first two games. Number one, and Coach Malone said it before the game. I was sitting in on the press conference. He said they want to run more. They want to get down the floor faster. And so every shot that the Heat missed, Denver was ready to push it up the floor. And it's even more pronounced when you miss like we said, 11 for 35. So they missed 24 threes. They were out and running on those long rebounds. So that's the first thing they did that changed things a little bit, because we know the Heat are a very good half-court defensive team. So if you can get them in transition and not getting them matching up the way they want, then you're at an advantage. So that's number one. Number two is Denver relied on the pick and roll a lot more in Game 3 than they did the first two games. For example, Murray was involved in 32 pick and rolls on the average the first two games. All right. The other night, he was in 42 screens. They set 42 screens for Murray in that game, 32 of them from the Joker. And so that was the other adjustment that Mike Malone made offensively going into Game 3. To get Murray going. Murray didn't have a real good game, Game 2. You knew he was going to come out strong in Game 3, especially with some of the idiotic things being said on social media. And so they made a concerted effort to run more and to get Murray and Jokic involved in pick and rolls.
Well, it seems as if we're going to attack the two things that Denver did differently, the tempo can be slowed back down by simply making a few more shots. So we're going to assume Miami's going to shoot the ball better, play a little bit better offensively tonight, and have Denver play more at the tempo that they forced them to play at out in Denver. What do you do defensively, about Denver's adjustment here? Because it seems as if, Jokic is just going to get his. So how do we slow down Murray?
Well, I think, I'm sure they looked at the tapes, obviously, after the game. Coach Spoelstra and his staff are very good of making adjustments. I remember when we played OKC in the finals in 2012, Westbrook had a 44-point game, I believe, in that series. And we won the game. It was in Miami. The next game, he was held in the 20s, I believe. So they adjusted. I remember we played Boston with Rajon Rondo. He had 41 in a game. Next game, no. And so Coach Spoelstra and his staff are very good at adjusting from game to game on what they need to do. The obvious thing is that, and it's easier said than done, that both those guys had triple doubles, Murray and Jokic. So you've got the key on one of them to hope that you're trying to stifle one of them if you can. If they both have a triple-double, again, they're going to be difficult to beat. I mean, they're probably the best pick-and-roll combination in the league. It might be the best duo in the league playing on the same team. They're starting to get their due. Denver all year, they play in the Western Conference. People don't watch them play that much because they play late at night. But they've been a really, really good team all year long and very underrated and very underpublicized. So this is their stage to show everybody how good they are. So I think what the Heat's got to do, and whatever Spoelstra comes up, maybe it's trapping Murray coming off the screens. They had some luck with that. They had some good fortune with that, success with him coming off the screens, and they trapped it. A couple of times he threw the ball away. NBA players do not like to get trapped. They like to have some maneuverability, be able to, have some space. So I think one of the things you may see tonight is you may see more traps on Murray coming off that Jokic screen. And maybe have to live with what Jokic gives you, but trying to stifle or at least limit what they can do together.
You mentioned the points in the paint and the shooting percentages. What offensively will they do to counteract whatever? Did Denver do anything in your estimation in Game 3 to slow them down, or is this just a matter of making shots for Miami, Tony?
I think it's a matter of making shots. Again, you have to go back and look at the tape, and then you get specific on what happened. But it seemed to me that Bam in the paint was getting the shots he wanted. Jimmy, he was getting some of the shots he wanted. Didn't look like he had a very good lift with his legs. I don't know what that's all about. But and then the 3-point shots, they just have to do a little more, be a little more active on the perimeter. The Heat are very good with setting a shooter setting the screen and then getting the screen. Coaches call that screen the screener. And you're so involved with the first screen that you get caught up in the second one. So you expect the Heat to shoot the ball better. They had a great shooting game in Game 2, a poor shooting game in Games 1 and 3. So what you said at the beginning is true. They've got to shoot better from the 3-point line. We know that the Heat, under Spoelstra especially, one of the characteristics of an Eric Spoelstra coach team is that they seem to respond when all seems to be lost or when the red flag goes up. We saw that when they lost at the buzzer in Game 6 at home against Boston and then went up there and beat them up there. They couldn't wait to get to Boston to play Game 7. It's not like they went up there with their head between their legs. They were ready to play. They couldn't wait. They were confident, and they knew what they had to do to win. And so I feel that way tonight. I think the Heat are going to tie the series tonight, make it a 2 out of 3. And I think I thought before the series started that the Heat had to win 2 games in Denver to win the championship, because I felt that I thought Denver, being a pretty good road team, we're going to win one of the 3 games in Miami. So that means you have to win 2 of the games in Denver. But the Heat have shown they've been a very good road team in these playoffs. And so let's see what happens tonight.
Tony Fiorentino, longtime Heat broadcaster, also a former Heat assistant coach. Follow Tony on Twitter before he has to change this handle in a week at Tony Heat WC3X. Tony Heat WC3X. Tyler Hero ruled out for Game 4 tonight. Tony, at this point, I mean, should we even, think about even if he gets cleared to play, Tony. I mean, would you trust a guy in the NBA Finals who hasn't played in 6+ weeks? I mean, it almost seems now as if, time has run out.
No, well, it's a tough call, obviously. I think the thing you keep in the back of your mind is if you get desperate, if let's say you don't win tonight, you go down 3-1 and what you tried didn't work, or your offensive players are not playing well. Obviously the Heat needs their players from 3 through 6, 3 through 7 to play well and to score. One of the big things in the game the other night was that Christian Vaughn was able to come through for them with 15 points, timely scoring. He didn't get that off the bench the other night. So, it's going to be a call by Eric Spoelstra, and it's not going to be one you're going to know or be comfortable with either way. If you go with him, do you go early in the game to see if he's got anything? Does he have any rhythm? And then does he fit in? And I read somewhere where he said he's not sure that that's a good idea because it may screw up the rhythm of what these guys have done the whole playoffs without him. And so he's being realistic about it and thinking of the team. So that's a tough call. It's a good point you brought up. The other point I want to make about tonight's game is that when you have guys like Jokic and Murray playing 44, 45 minutes a game like they did in Game 3, you got to go at them at the other end. You got to make them play defense, make them work, and maybe get them in foul trouble. And so there's a couple of ways you can attack this. You can do it at both ends of the floor. So let's see what Coach Spoelstra and his staff come up with tonight with strategy.
Well, how would you attack it, Tony? If to get those guys at a lot of minutes, how would you attack them tonight just with them on defense from Miami's offensive standpoint? How do you get after Jokic and Murray to try to exhaust them even more?
Well, the one obvious thing is to involve both of them in a screen. Whoever Murray's guarding, involve, and whoever Jokic will be guarding, Bam, involve the 2 of them in the screens. And just give them a healthy dose of what they gave the Heat down the other end in Game 3. Put them in the pick and rolls and make them defend. Okay, so they may put Murray. What they may do, obviously you're coaching Denver. If Murray's in the game and a guy like Robinson is in the game, maybe you put him on Robinson because he plays a lot on the perimeter. You put him on a player maybe that you feel is less likely, he's less likely to commit a foul on, rather than him guarding a Butler or a guy like Gabe Vincent, who's crafty with the ball, things like that. So I think you involve them a lot in pick and rolls. If you're coming down on the break, you got a choice between who you give the ball to in early offense. Maybe you go to the guy who's being guarded by Murray or Jokic. There's different ways you can do this, but it takes a certain mindset. And you got to remember too that they probably didn't do a whole lot yesterday. They practiced, but they didn't do, they didn't go full tilt because you got to rest the legs for tonight. So they'll have a shoot around this morning. So you don't have that extra day in between that you do when you travel. So let's see how the Heat approach the game tonight and whether the players mentally can carry out the game plan with such a short period of picking it up and knowing what you want to do, because human nature being what it is, you may revert back to the way you normally play, where you may have to change it a little bit.
Tony, we're always appreciative of your time. If we don't talk to you between now and then, happy Father's Day, and good luck to your Heat tonight.
I appreciate that, and I enjoy coming on with you guys. Let's see if we can change my Twitter handle. That 3XWC means 3 times world champions. Let's see, we'll go 4X and deal with that.
Right. Tony Fiorentino for at least another week. Tony Heat WC3X. Tony Heat WC3X. Longtime broadcaster, also a former assistant coach of the Miami Heat. Game 4 tonight, 8:30 ABC. Denver favored by 3.5. Heat have lost 3 straight at home in the playoffs after winning their first 6.
Felipe let us know during the break that he's going back to Miami for the game. He's not going to the game. He just can't watch it not being in the 305.
I mean, could you blame me?
Not at all. At your age, no. No, at your age, no. 25 and under, I get it.
Yeah, I'll be in the heart of Brickell for that game.
It does need to be pointed out, though, the heavy minutes for Jokic and Murray in Game 3. Bam, 41 minutes. Jimmy Butler, 40 in Game 3 also. And this is the last time in this series there's only one day off in between games. Game 5 will be on Monday. Game 6 will be on Thursday, if there is a Game 6. And then Game 7 would be on Sunday, Father's Day. So this is the last short rest game in the series, if you will. Remember what happened last time we had a short rest game? He came back 48 hours later and won.
Man, if we could get to 7. U.S. Open final round, chasing right at, West Coast U.S. Open.
Well, they'll be on at the same time, wouldn't they? I mean, a West Coast U.S. Open will go till 10 o'clock at night. And the finals will be at 8 on Father's Day. Game 7, they'll go head-to-head. At least half the NBA finals will be going up against the U.S. Open, if not 3/4 of it.
Miller and Moulton. Tampa, St. Pete, Lake City, Port Charlotte, and Venice. Thanks for listening to it this week. We'll give our calls right now for the network. Who do you got tonight? Heat?
I like the Heat.
We know who Felipe's taking. I picked the Nuggets in 5. I'm taking Denver.
I said 1-1, 2-2, Nuggets in 6, so sticking to it. And I picked the Panthers in 7, so going them as well. Miller and Moulton, bonus hours next.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com. Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So, Philly, do you have your breakfast burritos at 11 a.m.?
Yeah, as soon as I get home, I just go to work with the pans. By the way, David, someone have an appreciation for Wawa.
Yes.
Alico and Three Oaks Parkway. They are building a Wawa as we speak. Oh my goodness. Am I jealous?
All right, Felipe, I love your passion for Wawa, but you didn't hear the question I asked right before we had our last guest on because you were on the phone. You said that you make breakfast and she makes dinner. Does that mean the two of you are cohabitating?
Like, well, I mean, she has her place.
So the answer then would be no.
Cohabitating. That's
living together would
no,
be.
But, you know.
I'm just saying, it just sounded that way. It just was a very simple question.
I mean, you know.
How much would your parents freak out if you were? On a scale of 1 to 10.
About 34.
Well, you know, we live close. Stay at each other's places. You know how it is.
I understand.
But yeah, if I had a Wawa that close my 4 years at FGCU, instead of driving 20 minutes all the way on whatever 6 Mile Cypress. Would they repossess the Bronco?
Arch, they may decide that. But the people helping them pay the rent.
Yeah. I'm just getting more and more cut off too, so yeah, it's starting to really kick in now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this real world thing is very overrated, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I'd say so. It's a good thing I, did a pretty decent job saving money throughout college, like any
Good.
money that I had.
Good.
It's funny because the people that made fun of me for saving money then, look at them now.
So we figured out that Philly's cheap.
Oh, I'm cheap. I'm very cheap. I mean, I keep clothes. I wear hand-me-downs from my dad, my brother, my grandfather. I mean, I just make things look better, That
hand-me-downs for
At
the
least
grandfather.
he lacks self-confidence.
I lack.
I make things look better.
Right. I don't know about you. It looks good on me, though. Ooh.
By the way, I do own a suit. Just one, but I own a suit.
There you go. Weddings and funerals. Everybody needs one.
There you go.
That's why I've got the gray. Can go to both with that.
Yep.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
The bonus hour, Miller and Moulton, final hour of the week. Hope you've had a good week. Thank you for ending it with us in some way, shape, or form. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Mark, you pointed something out in our Twitch chat room during the last hour. And I know this is not a major sports headline to most of you, but, humor the old guy here. The whole meeting going on right now between top-seeded Alcaraz and Djokovic. I mean, this is historic in many ways. The age difference this deep into a Grand Slam tournament.
16 years between the two of them is the largest for a men's Grand Slam semi since the 91 U.S. Open, which was Courier and Jimmy Connors. And the largest for any round at a slam between two slam champs since 2006, when Agassi lost to Nadal.
So we'll see if the old guy, he was the hunter for so many years, chasing Federer and Nadal. Now, he's been, one of the big three being hunted for a while now, but let's face it, none of the young guard really took down these guys. The one guy got old, retired. The other guy's gotten old, is about to retire. And then you got this guy who's still, when he's allowed to play in the tournaments, he beats them. So we'll see.
$21,000 is the text line. They're at it right now. I don't know what I don't have it in front of me. So, we're on YouTube TV in here, David, and I can't find it on. I think it's on Peacock, and I don't subscribe.
I know. It's amazing where this sport now is in this country. It's on Tennis Channel and Peacock. It's a major championship in name only in this country. But there's an article out on Sports Illustrated. And I had it, and now I'm trying to find it because it was really newsy. And it's about this LIV PGA Tour thing that they, announced 3 days ago, almost to the minute. So Jimmy Dunn is apparently the architect of the deal. And he's the one on April 18th. He sent a WhatsApp message to the governor of the Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, Yasser Al Rumayyan. And he said, hey, can we call and talk? And so, he went overseas. They went to England in late April. They had dinner. Then the next day, they played golf. Okay. Then 3 weeks later, apparently Monahan flew to Italy. Okay. And brought his buddy, Jim Herlihy. So apparently there were three people on the PGA Tour side who knew. And then it was whoever the PIF guy told on his side. So 4 to however many. According to Dunn, who negotiated the deal, this is what he told Sports Illustrated. The PGA Tour is still going to be called the PGA Tour. It's just that Monahan's going to oversee LIV, the Tour, the DP World Golf Tour. And that all Monahan told the Saudi guy is they'll evaluate LIV at the end of the year. That if Monahan wants to disband it, he can. And that if LIV guys then want to play on the PGA Tour, well, Monahan gets to set the rules, what the discipline will be. According to this article, quote, they will be significant, unquote. Remember, that's what NBA commissioner is on the record as saying in terms of the penalty that's about to come Ja Morant's way in the next 2 weeks. Significant. So, Mark, what do you think significant is? Half a year?
Yes. Half a year, or what I would do might not be as significant as what they want. But since the whole tour is now about playing these elevated events, I would say you can play on the PGA Tour, but you're not allowed in elevated events for a year to try to bolster some of the other events and see if you can get the Koepkas of the world to play in what was like the Honda Classic.
So, according to this, the Saudis are not contributing directly to the PGA Tour or its players. However, they will get right of first refusal to be the tour's investment partner through a new company the tour is creating. What does that mean? Let's just say the tour wants to buy Pebble Beach. Saudis have the first right to be its partner. The tour will be the controlling partner in any investments. Now, what was reported 3 days ago, though, was that this Saudi guy, the tour may be the, quote, controlling partner, but the Saudi guy's got veto power. He's like, a member of the executive council of the UN. Russia raises their hand and goes, no. The answer is no. Nothing the U.S., China, England can do. PIF has not promised a single dollar in investments yet, and the tour has not promised the Saudis anything other than the right of first refusal. It's a hell of a deal they worked out here. Could the holes in the agreement be any bigger? Okay, it's presumed the Saudis are going to want to be involved financially in a big way. Okay, blah, blah, blah. All legal disputes have been settled. That's been widely reported. Okay. But this guy makes it sound, Jimmy Dunn makes it sound as if LIV is going away. And those golfers may be SOL for a while.
The What's Up app, huh?
The What's Up app.
That's how they got it done.
That's
how often do you use that app?
I don't even know what he's talking about.
Yeah, you do. You've seen the commercials for it.
I don't have it. I've never used it. I have no idea.
We've used it on this show to have guests from overseas.
No, you have. Okay. I've just introduced that person coming out of the break.
On this version of Tech Time with David, WhatsApp.
Right. So it's the WhatsApp. It's not the What's Up app.
No, it's the WhatsApp.
The WhatsApp. Okay.
I like the WhatsApp app better.
Yeah, that'll be the one I use. I'll use the WhatsApp app.
Oh.
So, and clearly Norman and Jimmy Dunn's like, yeah, you've heard the last of Greg Norman. Okay, LIV's going away, and Jay Monahan's going to be in charge of golf around the world. And you really think he's going to have anything to do with anything? But here's Dunn threw this out to the sports writer. Like, for example, what could one of the punishments be? They got this PIP fund, the Player Impact Program,
right,
on the PGA Tour, and it's $100 million annually, so that the rich and the most popular guys on tour can get even more money. Because remember, the guys who stayed were unhappy with all the money that DJ and Koepka and Phil and what have you were making over there. So they're like, you got to compensate us. And one of the penalties could be, Mark, that the LIV guys, even if they return to the PGA Tour, they're ineligible for PIP money for 10 years. So if you think about it, if the PGA Tour is going to hand out $1 billion in free money over the next 10 years, these guys will get none of it. Okay. It's a financial penalty. Here's what I'm most curious about. How are we going to make room for the golfers? You got 125 who get cards, right?
125 who keep their cards, 20 new guys who get their cards.
Okay, so you got 100.
The guys from the Corn Ferry get status.
So that's 145 guys who have their cards full time. Then you got like 25 guys who have conditional cards, right?
Yes.
Okay. And now, so that's 170. Now you got 48 golfers from LIV.
Well, I don't know if all 48 would be eligible.
Okay. But still,
I really don't.
But still, even if it's 20, even if it's 20, where are you making room? I mean, let's be honest. A lot of these guys have a lot more status, and if they ever sit down and do the world golf rankings properly, never mind if they do it retroactively. Okay, these guys are all going to be in any damn tournament they're eligible to play in. I'm just curious. I'm number 116. I got my card. I kept my card. Is there room for me? Or is the 125 in essence going to be like 100? At least for a year or two till we kind of work this out, because this is kind of like having a COVID scholarship problem here.
I will say it will make the non-elevated events jam-packed with players wanting to get in. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. But this guy made it sound as if the LIV is going away. And I will say, if you listen to Jay Monahan and Rory Tuesday and Wednesday, they were like, yeah, LIV's done. Maybe we'll figure out a way to work some team stuff into what we do. But
well, that was part of the reports I had seen, that the Saudis, part of what where they think they're going to get their money is on the team side of this.
Right. Because they get 75%, by the way. The deal they worked out with, like, say, Phil is the captain of his team. And whatever money is now brought in because of that team. Saudis get 75%. Phil gets 25.
And it's Phil, not the rest of the team.
No,
it's
Phil
75%
gets 25.
goes to the Saudis, 25% goes to the team captain.
Correct. Now, it's up to the team captain if he wants to, spread the wealth, trickle down economics.
And as it's pointed out in our Twitch chat room, we talked about this yesterday. There are live officials saying the live's going on as scheduled.
Well, don't you think it depends on if the Saudi guy sold them out or not?
100%.
I don't believe, by the way, everything Jimmy Dunn's saying here. And here's why. And I know we're pressed for time. Is because why would Monahan have allowed himself to take the beating he has taken for 72 hours now if it was this open-ended? I mean, people are saying to him, the Saudis have bought golf. I mean, Monahan should have looked right at him and go, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And come right back at him with stuff. He has not come back at anybody with anything.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Jimmy Dunn also said that he's confident that none of the Saudis he talked to had anything to do with 9/11, and if they do, he'd kill them himself.
Well, because he's the guy that actually lost numerous friends and family. Wasn't he the guy who was like out qualifying for the U.S. mid-amateur that day? Otherwise, he would have been in an office and he would have died on September 11th. I mean, one of them, it's either him or Hurley. One of those two.
Probably Dunn.
Yeah, it was done. It's just difficult for me to imagine that this Saudi guy, okay, who's going to be the one ponying up billions annually, is not going to have control in a significant way over something. If nothing else, the money. I mean, if you read this story, Mark, it makes it sound like the Saudi guy's like, listen, I just did LIV because you guys have been saying no to me for the last 4 or 5 years. And, you know, I could scrap this tomorrow. I don't really care. I want to be in business with you, and I'll just sign you a blank check and, just, put me on the board and, just make sure everybody knows we're a significant player and, rah, rah, go team.
I think it was Bill Simmons suggested that they may next go after the World Tennis.
Well, and this might be too strong, but if the Saudi money is running the PGA Tour, could you tell me the difference between the LIV and the PGA Tour?
18 holes.
Shotgun start, music?
Right.
No. The reason everybody hates LIV
is where the money came from, period.
So if now the same place is the money behind the PGA Tour, could you tell me the difference? I'll hang up and listen.
And what I got from everybody Wednesday at the golf course was, well, there's not a lot of details. We got to wait and see, which was.
Hey, technically it's true, but I mean, you know what this is. This is, you're a Republican, okay? And you railed on a Democrat because he or she did boop, boop, and boop. And now all of a sudden your guy does the exact same boop, boop, and boop. What are you going to say? You're going to say, I'm done with him? Or do you make excuses for him because, he's wearing the right shirt?
Jimmy Dunn, everything he said was on actually Sky Sports. Most of that article is an interview he did. So I actually I mean, Lama, I think the interview's dead right because I listened to a lot of it.
Dead struck. Here would be my thing, though. It's one thing for any LIV official to say LIV is not going anywhere. If this Saudi guy decides it's done, it's done.
And I like how everyone thinks Norman just got fired without a big paycheck. If someone doesn't think Norman got a boatload of money for this, they're crazy.
He's getting 9 figures. There's no doubt in my mind he's getting at least $100 million.
It's the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when we'll make our picks and some final thoughts on what's going on in the sports world tonight, tomorrow, and through the weekend. We'll be weird. Sunday we got nothing. I mean, honestly, college baseball, PGA Tour golf. I mean, no NBA finals, no Stanley Cup finals. Be weird. Am I missing something? I don't think I am. I mean, baseball. Maybe it's go watch a game, go to a game.
Sunday night baseball, David. I don't know what it is you're talking about.
Please tell me it's the Rangers and the Rays. The teams with the two-best record in baseball.
Crazy.
No?
I mean, come on. Do you know who's playing a 3-game set starting tonight?
The Cubs and the Giants?
The Yankees and the Red Sox.
The Red Sox are below 500.
Doesn't matter. It's the Yankees and the Red Sox, and that's what's going to be on Sunday Night Baseball.
Wow. National baseball fan just can't wait. We haven't had Yankees Red Sox for, I don't know, every week for the last 20 years, seemingly.
And you got a great pitching matchup on Sunday between the Rangers and Rays.
Is it Sunday or Saturday? When's the McClanahan?
Sunday.
It's Sunday. Oh, my goodness. That could determine, by the way, who starts the All-Star game. Evaldi and McClanahan, right?
No, Martins. Evaldi pitches the day before.
Oh, so it's McClanahan and Evaldi on Saturday. That's why it's, to me, disgraceful Fox isn't doing Saturday.
No. Evaldi is pitching against Bradley on Saturday.
What?
Martin Perez is pitching against McClanahan on Sunday.
Yeah. Midway through the now they changed it up. Kevin Cash cannot change his starting rotation when I haven't looked in 2 days.
Well,
Come
that's
on
not
now.
you. Because I'm watching the Rays every day. They spent 5 minutes on this yesterday in the broadcast. Me and Reusse are on the same page. These 640 Rays games are the greatest things in the world.
They're done by 9. It's fantastic. I mean, it really is. It's awesome.
I mean, I barely had to switch it to the non-volume TV for the start of the hockey game. That's how quickly these things are over with.
So when do we take the Marlins seriously, by the way? Because no one's still paying attention. There's 7 games over 500. 7 games over 500. For the record, if they play 1 game over 500 the rest of the way, they'll win 85 games. The Phillies made the playoffs last year, winning 86.
Marlins have a 9-game road trip that they start today in Chicago. They've got 3 with the White Sox, 3 with the Mariners, 3 with the Nationals.
All right. Well, 2 of the teams are below 500. They go 5-4. They come home, Father's Day evening, and they're 8 games over 500. Are we buying?
I don't know how you can't.
That'd be 72 games in. That'd be 44% of the season. The season would be 4 nights over. They'd be 8 games over 500.
And they've already played the Braves twice. They have 2 more series with the Braves. I mean, they've been killed by the Braves, but they've already gotten through 7 games with the Braves.
So they only have 6 more left.
Mm-hmm.
How about this? Could it actually come down to Marlins playing games against the Phillies and the Mets for both teams to try and make the playoffs?
It all depends on who else you're buying in the National League. There's no reason to think, I mean, maybe the Pirates stick around, but
if you're the Marlins, here's who you're competing against. Let's assume only one team's coming out of the Central. Is that a fair assumption?
I think that's a safe assumption.
Okay. So the 3 seed's going to be the NL Central champion. Milwaukee's got a 1-game lead on Pittsburgh right now. But whoever it is, and let's assume the Braves are winning the East. So the Marlins are competing for a wild card. Well, right now you got 2 really good teams in the West. Diamondbacks and Dodgers. We know the Dodgers will be there. Let's just assume the Diamondbacks are. So the Marlins are competing for one of the final 2 spots with 3 teams spending a load of money. The Mets, the Phillies, and the Padres. And you can throw in the Giants for good measure. So they'd be one of 5 teams competing for 2 spots.
Why not? The pitching's really good. They are going through this little phenomenon that I don't know if it sticks around all year, David, but usually these things have a way of having some staying power. They're winning all the close games. They're terrific in one-run games.
Well, they were the worst in the majors last year in one-run games. So it's kind of like, having a year of injuries and then the next year, wow, we stayed healthy all year.
Well, it's like if you look at the Vikings, regardless of what we think they've done, the Vikings won every single 1-score game last year in the NFL.
Yep.
Do you think they're going to do it this year? Probably not. Those things have a way, in fact, so much so that Phil Steele in his book does a whole article on the close win factor from close wins and close losses. And he's documented it over a decade that teams typically don't repeat the success or failures in close wins and losses from year to year.
The Rays are 29-6 at home, by the way. 29-6 at home.
They're playing 708 baseball right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're approaching the middle of June.
Texas Rangers have won nearly 2/3 of their games. They're 40-21. If they were in the same division as the Rays, they would be 4 games back. They're playing .656 baseball.
All right, unless they followed us from Tampa St. Pete somewhere online for the bonus hour. What's the attendance going to be like this weekend?
Boy.
The 2 best teams in baseball.
Yeah, they are.
Good pitching matchups.
Yeah, really are. I mean, right now, LCS preview.
Right. Glasgow throwing tonight for Tampa Bay.
One team's run differential's +154. The other is +135. They're so much better than the rest of Major League Baseball. Do you know who's the next closest? Atlanta at +70. These 2 teams are in a totally different orbit than the rest of the sport right now. They're playing each other. Fox is going to show us the Cubs and the Giants.
And ESPN's going to give us the Yankees and Red Sox.
We talk about this with the NHL since you and I have known one another and been doing a show together. If we've killed the NHL for not putting certain teams and players on because, well, we could always put Chicago and Detroit on and get a better number. Well, then if you're Manfred, you got to pick up the phone and say, come on, guys. 2 best teams in baseball? Seriously?
Problem is the best team in baseball still isn't drawing anybody. And I'll be curious what they draw this weekend against the Rangers. It's a big series.
Yeah. Put it this way. Will they do 60,000? for the 3-game series?
Man, I hope so.
Because I don't think they get 20,000 tonight. I think it's at like 17.
They had 12 and change yesterday.
Yeah, it was a
afternoon game. I know.
Right?
But this is the final 3 games, by the way, of that long stretch for Tampa against teams that were 500 or better when they started, and they killed it. They absolutely killed it. Miller and Moulton, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when, and what's on tap? It's how we'll finish off the week on the Florida Sports Network.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I'm so into this Panthers team that I can now spell Verhage correctly without looking it up. So proud of myself.
Did you see average USC road trip beginning next year? 2,300 miles. Okay, for UCLA, 2,200.
Is that because UCLA hosts USC?
Maybe. I just saw this. Jokic is going to make $500 million a year in the LIV/NBA.
I think Tiger and Roy should start their own tour.
Well, they're starting their own league. By the way, it's funny where they're going to emphasize team competition in fake golf, but team competition in real golf is a dumb idea.
All risk. If Rutgers could just get players from, New York City in basketball, I think they'd be fine. And in football, if they just get players from New Jersey.
There's actually more in the next 2 years recruiting in high school hoops. New Jersey's talent's actually better than the cities.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right, then let's just get kids from New Jersey.
By the way, Rutgers starting point guard just announced he's transferring.
Yes, for non-NIL reasons.
Yeah, I know. People are trying to figure out how. What's up behind that? He's a Jersey kid, too. He's from Bayonne. He's a classic point guard, too. He's a pass-first point guard. They've just lost. They lost their leading scorer, and now this kid. Should have made the tournament last year.
I need to get a temperature thing to keep in here just to see how cold it is.
Oh, it's freezing.
That will
You're in the warm room.
No, in there it's freezing, is what I'm saying. 200 plus South African firefighters landed in Edmonton to assist the fight against the raging wildfire.
In Edmonton? Aren't the fires in Quebec?
Well, I don't know.
No, they're actually in the western part of the state, country, too.
Oh, okay.
Shout out South Africa.
I'll see. Everybody likes the Canadians.
Except me.
Right.
And Florida.
And I love Canadians. I really do.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes for the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com.
What do you say? Let's get right after it?
Yeah, I got nothing.
Perfect.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1628. Even though we weren't a country, the first deportation from what is now the United States, Thomas Morton was banned from Massachusetts. I don't know what he did, but he must have really honked somebody off.
Man.
The first dime novel was published today in 1860. In 1915, Woodrow Wilson sends a second Lusitania note to Germany protesting the sinking of the ship. That same day, William Jennings Bryan quits as U.S. Secretary of State.
What's his problem?
I think he wanted more than a letter. That's just me. 1945. After Brooklyn defeats the Phils 8-6, Leo DeRocher is arrested on a complaint by a fan that DeRocher slugged him. They might have got the win, but they're not getting out without an arrest. Mel Ott today in 1946 becomes the first manager in Major League Baseball history to be ejected in both games of a doubleheader. 1960, Roy Orbison releases Only the Lonely. Tony Bennett makes his debut at Carnegie Hall in New York City today in 1962. Your guy, Springsteen, signs a deal with Columbia Records today in 72. Secretariat wins the Belmont, becoming the first Triple Crown winner in 25 years today in 1973.
Like a tremendous machine.
2:24 was the time. Just keep that in mind when you watch the race on Saturday. Today in 78, Larry Holmes beats Ken Norton for the heavyweight title.
If you ever have a chance to see this fight, I know you're all making fun of me right now. 15 rounds. The fight's dead even on all three scorecards going to the 15th round. They beat the tar out of each other. It is a glorious fight. Holmes wins the final round on 2 of the 3 judges' cards.
Today in 1980, Richard Pryor has a rough time freebasing cocaine because he burned himself up.
Which led to the line when he came back. Just if you're keeping score at home, okay, George Carlin leads in heart attacks 2-1, but I did blow myself up.
Cyndi Lauper is number 1 in the nation today in 84 with Time After Time. Not Girls Just Want to Have Fun. The one that she's probably more remembered for. In 85, the Lakers beat the Celtics in 6. Finals MVP Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
That was when they won, first time ever, someone winning the NBA championship at the Boston Garden, not the Boston Celtics.
91, Courier beats Agassi for his first Grand Slam title in 5 sets to win the French.
Agassi's leading. There's a rain delay. During the rain delay, Courier's coach says, "You're doing this all wrong." On the return to serve, I don't know if it was, I think he was on the baseline, and he said, "No, go like 3 steps back. Just move back and return in the serve." Totally changed his tactics, comes back and wins.
Colorado beats the Devils in 7 for the Stanley Cup title in 2001.
Raymond Bork!
That same day, Jennifer Capriati wins her second major, winning the French in 3 with an epic third set, winning 12-10.
I have to admit, I was a big fan. The story, you know, she just broke through as a teenager, and you know, she brought power tennis along with Celis. She, you know, and then obviously everything she went through, and then here we are. You know, she's in her mid-20s there, and I was all into the story.
I was too. It was a great redemption story for her. 03, the Devils beat the Ducks in 7 for the Stanley Cup. In 2010, the Blackhawks beat the Flyers in 6 for the Stanley Cup.
Their first one in 49 years.
In 2013, Rafe wins the French to become the first man to win the same Grand Slam title 8 times. He wasn't done.
No, what, did he win like 5 more?
2019, David Ortiz was shot. That same day, Rafi wins his 12th French and 18th major. And it was a year ago today that the Live Golf International Series gets underway in London.
Boy, they had no impact on the golf at all.
Les Paul, Jackie Mason, and Jackie Wilson all born today. Dick Vitale's 84. The Cobra, Dave Parker, 72. Michael J.
By the way, do you think Dave Parker should be in the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
You know, he doesn't have any of the magic numbers. He's got really good numbers. Like he's right around 400 homers. He's like right around 2,700 hits. He was a stud, though.
Michael J. Fox is 62. Johnny Depp is 60. Teddy Bruschi is 50. And I want you both to guess how old Udonis Haslem is today.
I know.
Go ahead, Felipe. David knows the answer. Good guess. He's 43.
Tim Reynolds sent out a tweet a little while ago in which he said, "Happy birthday, Udonis. You're having a hell of a party tonight. You and 20,000 of your friends at 8:30.
43. Still playing in the NBA. Not really.
Oldest player to ever check into an NBA Finals game.
29 seconds, 31 seconds, something like that. Yep.
42 years old.
Lose a bet on that.
64 days.
And that's all I got, David. What did I miss?
No. You're all over it. The only thing I cared about today was Secretariat. Got to get that in.
Hey, happy birthday, Peja Stojakovic as well. Don't forget him.
Oh, don't forget him.
Don't forget Peja.
Don't forget the third best player on the 2009 Orlando Magic.
You know, I go through all the birthdays every day, and I saw that. And every once in a while, I'll put a hoop player on there just to appease Felipe.
Peja.
But once Udonis was on there wasn't a need for another basketball player
true.
today.
But that name, Peja.
Don't forget the third best player on a team that lost in the finals.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Ducks. I've got 2 giant inflatable ducks in Hong Kong's Victoria Harbor. They're 18 meters tall. They look like the ducks that you had in your bathtub as a kid. The difference is they're 18 meters tall. Don't ask me why I like ducks. And I like rubber ducks. I like floating ducks. I like inflatable ducks. And I like the fact that they're in Hong Kong. So that's the good for me. But, David, it's not always good on the duck.
What?
Because for the bad, we go to England, where marine researchers in England said a paddleboarder came to the assistance of 3 men who drifted out to sea on an inflatable duck. A friend in a kayak attempted to push the duck to shore, but soon the unusual flotation device was more than 650 feet from shore. A paddleboarder was able to hook them up, drag them close enough that they were able to get off the duck. The duck then was lost, out of control, and swept out to sea.
That's ducking crazy.
See what he did there?
I do. For the ugly, we go to Altoona, Pennsylvania, where Gino Sallow Jr. is facing a lot of charges. They ran a red light, then ran another. Police activated their sirens, but he sped up. Ran a third red light, hitting a car. Then he took off on foot and ran away, leaving his 2 kids in the car.
Oh, for goodness sake.
So as long with the reckless driving, he's got child endangerment and many other charges. He'll spend some time in jail, and that is the ugly today on our Good, Bad, and Ugly, June the 9th, 2023.
Get it done, boys. Get it done. The Blades at home tonight. I think it's sold out. Not sure about if standing room's available.
Standing room's always available.
Well, when you were there, it was. Goodness knows you didn't care about the fire marshal. Besides, you were getting all those people in free anyway. They weren't going to turn on you.
I mean, this is an opportunity to go back to back.
Yep, and also to see a championship won in person. All right, it's kind of cool. Blades up 3-0 on Idaho. If by chance they don't get it done tonight, they'll have a second crack at it tomorrow night at Hertz at 7:00. Go get it done, boys. Get it done. It'd be the 3rd time in franchise history. And as Felipe mentioned, back-to-back.
I say they lose tonight and win game 5, assuring them of all 3 gates at home and 3 sellout crowds.
Now, you know how superstitious your former boss, Craig Brush, is. Okay. He wouldn't take that. He's like, no, get it done tonight, get it done tonight. But if we could pull him aside and say, no, I can guarantee you don't have to go to Boise. But so hopefully they get it done. Remarkable story. Because also they did it as a 4th place team in their division. They're kind of like the Heat.
Right. I mean, one of the more unusual runs for a team that's had so many great playoff teams that this one doing it, maybe not as good of a regular season team as some others, but obviously getting it done in the postseason and a tough road that they've had to go.
Well, and I will say, we talked about hanging jerseys, there's multiple guys on this team that are going to have their jersey hung. You got to think the goalie Johnson, because this would be back-to-back. McCarron, obviously. So, this legendary stuff here. And the Blades got a bunch of cracks at it. First one tonight, 7:30. If you want to hedge your bets, I think there's tickets available for Saturday. I'd purchase them now. And then, worst case scenario, you get a refund. You could use it for opening day next year when they raise the banner. Huh? Like the train of thought there or no?
I do.
College baseball, the super regionals get underway today at noon, actually. Florida hosting South Carolina in a best of 3, 6 o'clock tonight, ESPN2, if you're interested. NBA Finals tonight, 8:30, ABC. This is it for the weekend. Game 5's not till Monday. Denver, a 3.5-point favorite tonight against the Heat. Baseball, we talked about it. Rays at home for Texas. 2 best teams in the league, record-wise, 6:40 start. And Marlins on the south side.
And the White Sox playing better.
They are.
I mean, they're not above 500, but they've been playing better baseball here the last 2 or 3 weeks.
In fact, they could win for the next week and still not be 500, but that's a whole other story. But 8-10 start for the Marlins. Hockey tomorrow night, 8 o'clock TNT. Game 4 of the Stanley Cup.
I like Denver tonight. I like the Panthers tomorrow.
I like the Heat and Panthers. Going by my original picks.
And that's right where I am, too. I picked Denver in 5. I'm not going to deviate from that. And I picked Vegas in 7.
Djokovic, by the way, up 5-2 in the first set.
And you could have paid for him and been an underdog if you were gambling.
Big underdog. Big underdog on Djokovic tonight. When the hell has that happened? Maybe when he played Nadal like in a French final a few years ago, but otherwise, you got to be kidding me. Till the young guys beat the old guys, don't you just have to keep betting the old guys?
In that sport, you do. If you missed any of the show today, download it. Great show today. Glenn Davis joined us to talk Messi and MLS soccer. Pat Reusse talking the Minneapolis sports scene. Kurt Becker gave us his picks for the Belmont, and Tony Fiorentino breaking down Game 4 of the Heat and the Nuggets, all available online. Go to millerandmoulton.com to download anything you missed.
And if you're interested in the Belmont, and there's probably 17 of you that are, it's on Fox tomorrow. Fox.
So there.
I'm going to watch. I just want to catch some of their coverage. I'm curious who's doing it. Usually when Fox jumps into a sport for the first time, they do something different.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back